This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
All right, sunshine finally getting out as we get into the afternoon now. Going to be a beautiful Friday afternoon and evening as we'll have dry pavement for driving, lots of sunshine around, and comfortable temperatures, upper 50s. Tonight, a little bit chillier, down near 30 degrees, sunshine and 55 on Saturday. Sunday, sunshine near 50 degrees. And Monday now, sunshine with highs in the mid-50s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik.
Just because they finish earlier now doesn't mean you won't be satisfied. Beer City's best sports talk, brought to you by Ingles Markets. Low prices, love the savings. The Sportsocracy, now noon to 3 on ESPN Asheville.
Hey, it's Mark Starling from First News on 570, and I've been telling you for years how great Summit Dental is with Dr. Chad Reinhardt. Look, you don't have to take it from me. Check out these 5-star reviews on Google. Summit Dental is amazing. They're so friendly and welcoming when you arrive. They have comfort options that you can request at no extra charge, like a warm lavender-infused neck wrap, pillows, blankets, sunglasses, and warm and cold drinks. I've never had this at any previous dental offices. We've changed our whole family over to Summit. Check out Summit Dental in Asheville with Dr. Chad Reinhardt, home of the comfort menu.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the fur? Okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
To some, a baby's babbling doesn't mean much, but it does. Especially if there's no babbling at all. Little to no babbling by 12 months or later is just one of the possible signs of autism in children. Learn more at autismspeaks.org. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
Get ready for the big game with a free iHeartRadio app, the official partner of the NFL Podcast Network, featuring the biggest names in the game like Ross Tucker and his daily NFL podcast.
I am so looking forward to that game.
NFL Total Access.
That's another mini storyline to watch.
NFL Now.
This could be the dangerous team.
And many more. The free iHeartRadio app in the NFL, getting you the insight and behind-the-scenes stories you need for the big game. Just open the free iHeartRadio app and search NFL and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-374-2103. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-374-2103 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-374-2103. 800-374-2103. 800-374-2103.
This is Cam Jordan, All-Pro defensive end with the New Orleans Saints. I'm known for my work on the field, but I also do work on the mic as host of the Off the Edge with Cam Jordan podcast. Whether it's great football combos with all pros like the Eagles' Darius Slay, the Steelers' Cam Hayward, or the Raiders' Max Crosby, or it's fire music takes, the Off the Edge with Cam Jordan podcast is your ultimate playbook for all things football and not football. Get new episodes every Wednesday through the playoffs and Super Bowl 58. Listen on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Pay. That's pay. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from your friends at ESPN Asheville.
The pounding begins. The wagons are circled. Every wind is raidered. It's football time in America, and this republic has never been stronger. The Sportsocracy, Beer City's best sports talk, live from the Ingles Studio.
And welcome into the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. And the Sportsocracy is heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app, and we are seen everywhere on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel. You can join us in the chat, and we need a lively chat today. I want to hear all your thoughts on the off week in the NFL. We got a lot to get into through the program today. It is, as you can see on the YouTube stream, it is titled today, Tank and Friends. I've reached out to all my friends around the sports world that you would be interested in hearing from anyway, and brought them onto the program today as Flostradamus Jeremy Greene is still down at the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, having all the fun. We'll catch up with him in the 1 o'clock hour. To start out the show, I want to bring in, well, I've got the shirt on. I got my Buck shirt on with my Brad Johnson. I got your name on it here, champ. Super Bowl 37 champion with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Brad Johnson. Thanks for joining us, man.
Yeah, Tank, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for reaching out, and hopefully all my friends there in Western North Carolina are doing well today, so thank you.
Yeah, we're doing fine, and look, we've had a heck of a football season. It's the first time that you and I have talked this football season. Lots of things going on. Are you shocked at all that we end up with Patrick Mahomes in a Super Bowl once again?
It's incredible. I mean, he's been to 6 AFC championship games and 4 out of the last 5 Super Bowls. And when you get drafted, you obviously he got drafted to the right place. He's got extreme talent, but then, the first year he got to sit behind Alex Smith, and then they knew he had talent like no other. And then to be, have the same coach as Andy Reid, who's a legend, it fitted all together. And the guys, if you watch the show, the Netflix with Patrick Mahomes and Cousins and Mariota, you see why he's so great.
Oh yeah, it was a great show that made me only like him more. I like getting that inside look into an NFL player's regular day of what it looks like, what you're thinking in your off time, the things that you have to think about, trying to separate the private life, from the from the on the field life, all of that. I thought that was such a well done documentary.
Yep, no doubt. I'm glad they did a story. It's a lot to let people. A TV series in on your life, hoping you have having a great season, and you could have a bad season. I mean, you still got to live with it, what you signed up for. But for him to put that in the film for the test of time is pretty awesome to see his greatness, and all those 3 guys that actually did the show.
Yeah, it was great. Your son is a quarterback. He has been well-traveled, right? LSU, Texas A&M. Now going to North Carolina. I want to pick your brain on what is it like to be the dad of a quarterback in this transfer NIL era. Well,
you know what, transfer it starts in middle school. If you want to get real, it starts in middle school, then high school. Kids are transferring all over the place, not alone in the counties, but all over the country to different places. And sometimes, to be able to transfer, sometimes it's a good thing to get away from a bad situation. Sometimes it's a needed situation. And really under Max's situation when he was at LSU, when he left, they had 37 guys academically eligible. So you're like, where's the state of the program? So that's why he transferred there. Then the situation at A&M was a little bit different. But, it's tough for every quarterback. And for in high school, nowadays, for a kid to go through a recruitment with these college coaches for a couple of years, then you go to campus, and then you don't know if that college coach is leaving. You don't know who that college coach is paid. You don't know will you ever have a chance? So there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and you're really just looking for an opportunity, and then to be able to run off with it with good people and good coaches. But it's a potluck deal. I'll be honest with you.
What do you think? How do you think your career might have been different if NIL had existed back then?
Well, when you look in our quarterback room, I mean, I played with Danny McManus, who played in the Canadian League, threw 52,000 yards, and Peter Tom Willis played 4 years in the NFL, and Casey Weldon was the runner-up to the Heisman. Charlie Ward won the Heisman National Championship, and Chris Winkie won a national championship and won a Heisman. Like, you'd have been transferring left and right. and somehow it worked out for all of us. But nowadays it's a little bit different because that money that they're paying some of these kids is real at some of these institutions, and you can't overcome that with the boosters in charge of a lot of it. So that's real talk on some of it. And but eventually, if you get on that field, you earn your keep and your ways of doing it. But I like the old-fashioned way of just back in the day. If you remember the Olympics, they had amateurs playing,
right?
And then they had to make a move in the they had to go to the pro ranks if they're going to win gold medals. And that's just the way of the days of time now. And but NIL is not only real in college; it's real in high school, and it's starting at an early age.
Now, are you still coaching in the high school ranks, or did you stop doing that when the kids graduated?
Yeah, I stopped when the kids graduated. It's just too much to keep up. And then I have a lot of some quarterbacks on the side that I just piddle with and work one-on-one with kids.
Okay, and the rest of the time you just spend it doing trick shots on your basketball court.
No doubt. I'm on some crazy trick shots right now. It's insane what's getting ready to take place with a couple of these shots that are getting ready to go down.
No doubt. You're a viral sensation. What is it? At Big Bad Brad?
Yeah, the TikTok stuff is Big Bad Brad 14, but then all the other social accounts are Brad _Johnson _14, and you can find all that stuff, all the trick shots everywhere. It's been kind of fun to do.
Yeah, it is. It is awesome every now and then just to wake up in the morning and see Brad Johnson out there throwing footballs full court and into basketball goals and stuff like that. Yeah, but that speaks to your accuracy, right? That was one of the things that you that was your hallmark when you were in the NFL. I remember when we brought you into Tampa Bay, and everybody was like, all of my friends were like, "Oh, who is this guy your team just got?" And I went, first of all, he's from down the street, so don't start talking smack. Second of all, that's what I love in a quarterback is the ability just to be able to be accurate.
Yeah, I mean, perceptions are funny, different than reality sometimes. But playing quarterback position, there's so much that goes into it. Not only just how far can you throw a spiral, and are you at the county fair? Can you hit the milk cartons? You know what I mean? A lot of people get excited over those kind of things, but just being able to call, playing the huddle, and be able to lead your team and walkthroughs and meetings and practices and daily grind, and then being able to the game's won on first down with how your completion percentage is, but then on third downs, getting a first down with it, and then obviously scoring red zones, and then playing in clutch situations and 2-minute situations. So many things go on beyond just throwing a ball, but just making you're a decision maker for a $1 billion corporation every time you take a snap. So it's an unbelievable opportunity to do it, and I was fortunate enough to do it for a long time.
Is that why quarterbacks make the best coaches, in your opinion?
Oh man, you know what? I think coaches, I think maybe it's coordinators, those kind of things, and sometimes really it's a guy that played backup because he really just learned the system, the blocking schemes, the intricacies of just how to design plays, how to communicate more than sometimes a starter. I think sometimes the backup guys, those are guys that you like, Sean McVay. Greene when he played in college, all these guys, a lot of those guys were backups, and but then it's a neat gift to give to others when you can have a great play caller.
Well, you study the game and you learn all those strategies, and then you got to do all the checks, and a lot goes into playing quarterback, as you said. I mean, we look at Ben Johnson. He was the big hotshot coordinator from the Detroit Lions from right here in Asheville. Went to AC Reynolds High School. He was a quarterback in high school and worked his way up, and now he's the hottest thing on the market. I was surprised that he stayed.
Yeah, I mean, you never know. Sometimes it's just how the organizations are aligned. Do you have a connection with the owner? Who's the general manager? Which side of the ball do you want to pay? What kind of coordinators you're bringing in? What kind of contract does he personally get? It's a lot. You just don't want to just jump at any decision just to take a head coaching job unless it's the right one. Because those jobs, when you get that chance, you want to be at the right one. And but I'd say Ben, it's been awesome to watch him call plays in Detroit. They've been my favorite team to watch the last couple of years. I just love the way he calls it. I'm friends with his dad, Don, who's principal there in Reynolds and Owen High School.
Right.
So it's been fun to watch him.
Yeah. I mean, have you had one-on-ones with Ben in the past? Have y'all talked football in depth any or?
No, I've never met him.
Okay.
I know he's he's played in North Carolina for a little bit, but I just love watching his offenses. I'm like, wow, that would be a guy that I want to play for, no doubt about it.
Well, I think a lot of guys are going to want to play for him, and everybody in Detroit apparently real happy that he's coming back to be the offensive coordinator. We see, I saw an article today where Teddy Bridgewater is now going to coach. He got a job at his high school.
Yep.
Miami Northwestern Senior High School. He's going back to the alma mater to be a coach at 31.
Yep, he's going. It'll be interesting for him. That's a great opportunity. One of my best friends, Jason Witten, he just took over a small school in Texas.
Right.
First year they were like 1-9, and last year they were like 10-1, and this year they won the state championship. But for him, just like Teddy's going to go through, you don't have all the equipment managers, you don't have all the assistant coaches, sometimes you're out there chalking the field yourself, and sometimes you're filling up the water bottles and setting up the tents on Friday night. And
so
you're trying to raise money for the school and doing sell bales of hay and all those kind of things. So I'm excited for Ted. He's had a great career, and I'm sure he'll make a big impact on that community and a lot of those kids.
Yep. As everybody knows by now, Brad Johnson, of course, Super Bowl winning quarterback with my Tampa Bay Buccaneers, forever my quarterback. You and Tom Brady, y'all are at the top of the GOAT list right now. We're not even allowing Patrick Mahomes to get into this conversation.
Well, he wasn't a Buck, so
that's right.
But,
that's right. He never won a title with the Bucs, so he doesn't count.
That's right.
I've been fighting with my father all season long. I am not a Baker Mayfield fan, but I gotta say, I've been impressed with some of the play that he put on the field this year. He is absolutely maddening to me. And I want to get the Super Bowl winning quarterback's opinion on this. What do you make of Baker Mayfield right now?
I think a lot of it goes into perceptions of what people have on people. And I know he had 2 or 3 really good years in Cleveland, and then you just don't know what happens in organizations sometimes. Like when you watch some guys on TV, you really don't know what's going on in those meeting rooms and just things that take place. And he had to bounce a little bit. He took a gamble going from to go to Carolina. He took a pay cut. He gave money back just to go to Carolina. Then he went to the Rams, and then becoming, it was pretty. The Bucs were in a situation this year. They were looking at a 1-year deal, and they gave Baker a 1-year deal, and he had a little competition in training camp. And I can't say he had the best training camp, but he had some great preseason games. But it's so hard. It's really so hard when you pick up and move your family, go learn a whole new playbook, learn a whole new locker room. Earn your keep of who you are and get over all the perceptions of fans and the other players. But if you ask the general manager, Jason Light, and you ask the coaches and you ask the players, they love him because he's one of them. He's a leader. They went 9-8, won the division. A year before, I think they had a losing record and ended up making the playoffs with Tom Brady. So, they actually won more games this year. So it's just so hard to be successful in the NFL. So I just feel for every quarterback going through it just because I did it. I've lived it through every high and low. So I've never met Baker, but I was excited for the year that he had. It'll be interesting to see how they work out a contract, for him down there in Tampa.
Yeah, well, there's all I'm saying is just keep it financially responsible, Jason. That's all I ask.
Yeah.
I'm
sure they will.
Don't go crazy. Let's not throw out these Daniel Jones numbers and stuff. I'll be happy if we can get some kind of a deal on that.
Yeah,
I guess one thing you and Baker have in common, you both have won a quarterback competition at the Pro Bowl. They did the Pro Bowl games last night, and Baker won the precision passing competition against C.J. Stroud. Now, if you go back and you watch the actual event, Baker was very Bakery. He got out to a lead, and then he just nursed it. He took the easy ones. It's a much different thing than you guys did with the Ultimate Skills Challenge back in the 90s. They put y'all through the ringer.
Yeah, there was a lot of different competitions. Some of those were thrown at golf carts and long ball contests, and then the last thing that they would do is you actually throw into to receivers and run through a gauntlet kind of thing. It was more of a workout kind of deal, to be honest with you. And I think the whole Pro Bowl, just in general, has become more. They're no longer playing the game. It's a flag football game, and it probably needs to be done there for the players to protect the players. And then, the skills competition is just another. It'd be like doing putt-putt for for Tiger Woods. So they just try to have fun with it now, and just and it's worthy of watching. Just to get to know who the players are a little bit of their personality.
Yeah, I'm still forever impressed. The 2003 quarterback challenge. Go watch it. It was Brad Johnson putting it all on the line in that competition. With the quarterback situation the way it is, and the way we have so many guys that are jumping from school to school in college, and then having all of the NIL stuff, there's been a lot of talk with the Reese's Senior Bowl going on down there. We're ramping up all of our, as we call it, draftmas coverage. This is Jeremy's favorite time of the year to look into quarterbacks and prospects and all of that. One of the big topics that came up about the guy who's expected to go number one this year in Caleb Williams was all of the talk about his financial demands and what they would have been had he come out. I don't know if any of that's true, but do you see that as a big problem coming down the line of guys having money already before they get into the league and maybe, having, maybe a bigger chip on their shoulder than they should?
Well, I think it's just the way the times are. I mean, we're paying high school kids. We have high school kids and dads asking for money coming to college. You have kids, it's gotten crazy in college, but Caleb, he won a Heisman. He'll have that chance to be the first pick of the draft, but you've seen different scenes take place, and some people have success, some don't. You saw what happened with John Elway. He said he wasn't going to play; he was going to go play baseball, and you saw, Eli Manning, not go to San Diego and go to the Giants, and somehow they were hated for a moment, but then it was the right decision in the end. But you just don't know in the contract negotiations what's been said, and what the deals are behind the scenes, and eventually the kid, the player, he has to go out there and earn his keep on the field, and then obviously you want to get the best contract and the money wise that you can. But it's a just living through it, I really try not to get caught up in the day-to-day stories of it. Just,
right.
Just try to find the greatness of each player and let those organizations, let those kids and agents make those decisions.
Is it? I guess it's always a sense of pride when when your children go on to achieve things. Max and Jake both going to North Carolina. Does that mean a little something extra to you that they're coming back to your home state?
It's awesome for them. They're both living their own dream and blazing their own path, and it's kind of cool when when they throw a touchdown past each other, and some people say Johnson to Johnson, some people say brother to brother. So I've been watching them do it since they were in first and second grade, and just to kind of watch them do their own thing is pretty awesome. And for them to come back home, we almost went there. Max almost went there to school there in his choices of picking schools, 4 years ago. So it was, so we've been to a bunch of camps there, been on campus a lot, but then the opportunity to really play for Mac Brown was a no-brainer. Just wanted to be a first-class coach, and obviously he's College Hall of Fame. And then Chip Lindsey had a really good connection with him through the recruiting process. And then for Max, Clyde Christensen, who's the QB analyst, he was my coordinator in Tampa. So really a no-brainer. It was a great choice by Max, great choice by Carolina. It's a great situation for Jake. I think last year they were second or third in the country in tight ends with catches. So you want to go to a place that you can be used, and I think it's going to be great for both of them.
Yeah, we're obviously hoping for great things from both of them with the Tar Heels, and we'll hear, of course, every game right here on ESPN Asheville with the Tar Heel Radio Network. Brad, it's always a pleasure. We appreciate you taking out the time for us here. I always love touching base with you around this time of the year so I can wish you a happy anniversary. I know we missed it by a few days, but January 26, 2003 still lives in my heart.
Awesome. I appreciate it, Tank. Thanks, man.
All right,
Stay
brother.
out there. Hello.
Yes, sir. You have a great one. Hey, before we let you go, you got a call on the Super Bowl?
I don't. I can't. I have a hard time picking them, but I mean, honestly, Lynch. He was my roommate for 3 years in Tampa, and then Kyle Shanahan. He was like an analyst for us, and then Brian Greasy. He's the QB coach there, and we played together for a stint down there in Tampa. So I'm pulling for the 49ers.
All right, good man. All right, we will catch up with you next time. We appreciate it, and we'll take a quick break right here in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400.
Renewal by Anderson's here.
Kickstart the new year with this incredible deal. Buy one window or door and get the second for 40% off. Act now to schedule your free, no-obligation, in-home consultation with my team at freewindowassessment.com. That's freewindowassessment.com.
After years of discomfort, it's like I'm alive again.
Sonia Hackett talks about how QC Kinetics changed her life.
QC Kinetics has given me my quality of life back.
Before QC Kinetics, Sonia suffered from horrible knee and back pain stemming from a car accident.
I was wearing knee braces just to try to maneuver around.
Sonia hated the idea of pain meds, and surgery seemed too risky. So she turned to the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics, the leaders in advanced regenerative medicine.
That consultation just changed my life. I can do the treadmill, everything. I don't have anything holding me back. The quality of life is pain-free. QC Kinetics has made us very happy.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today.
I'm going to get emotional again. They are like family members to me. They care.
Call QC Kinetics now.
Call QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. 828-333-9517.
Valentine's Day is just around the corner. Are you ready? Stargazers Designs can assure your Valentine receives gorgeous flowers to make their day truly memorable. Place your order today at stargazersfloraldesigns.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Over 50,000 police officers are assaulted each year. Help police by not escalating. Address any complaints after the encounter. Comply now, complain later. Keep everybody safe. This message brought to you by the National Police Association. Learn more at nationalpolice.org.
All right, people, it's Valentine's Day. Everything has to be perfect.
At Ingles, we know Valentine's Day doesn't have to be perfect.
Happy Valentine's Day.
It just has to come from the heart. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
That is some good, clean family fun there, eh, Cot?
And we are back at the Sportsocracy. I say we. It's me and the bird. If you're watching on the YouTube stream, yeah, I've got the bird over here. Oh, I forgot to hit the transition button, so I'm up on the screen there. I told you guys I was going to screw this up at some point. I have 4 mice in front of me, or mices, or mouse-eye. I don't know what we should actually call them. But the plural of a mouse. I have 4 of them in front of me, so I can figure out which one is going. But I got the bird over there in Jeremy's chair because I'm technologically dumb. I was going to say another word there, and I can't say that word. But I couldn't figure out how to only put me on the screen. So you got the bird today. Lots of birds aren't real jokes in the YouTube chat. You want to go check us out online? Go to thesportsocracy.com, click the live video link, subscribe to the channel so you can join us in the chat. Jeremy will be along with us in the 1 o'clock hour as he'll be reporting once again live from the Senior Bowl in Mobile, Alabama, looking over all of the notes from the Senior Bowl. I don't see any pictures of a weird, giant mulleted guy that was going too crazy at the Mardi Gras parades last night. But we will check in with Jeremy to see how that's going and how the third day of practices went. No practices today, so he's recovering, and I'm sure he's hard at work cutting up videos and getting ready for getting all that tape prepared so we can put it out on the YouTube stream here with all of our Draftmas coverage. But Jeremy will join us at the top of the 1 o'clock hour. We'll probably have him for the entire hour. Doug Maurer, voice of the Asheville Tourists. We'll talk some baseball. Yeah, we're going into the Ochos territory here. We'll talk some baseball coming up in the third hour of the program. 2 o'clock, we'll touch base with Doug as it's a big year for the Tourists. It's their 100th year. Ryan McGee of ESPN will be joining us. He's a senior writer for ESPN, big NASCAR guy. I've been getting ready for the NASCAR season. If you hadn't checked it out this week, the Netflix Full Speed series, NASCAR Full Speed series is out. It chronicles the playoff push last year with the 16 drivers and all the elimination stages and all of that. Really well done. I was really mad, though, that I looked and I did not see Ryan McGee's face. Figured I would. Marty got all over it. Nothing for McGee. So we'll talk to Ryan about NASCAR with the Busch Clash coming up this weekend. Plus, he's a UT grad. So we got to talk to him about the Tennessee Vols potentially in trouble once again. That repeat offender status hanging over their heads as they apparently cannot figure it out how to do the NIL thing without getting the NCAA on their case. I think they stepped up from the McDonald's bags of cash, but the collective apparently still confused about the rules. And we told you yesterday when Chris Womack was in here with us from News 13 that the states of Tennessee and Virginia both suing over the NCAA's NIL rules. So we'll talk to Ryan McGee about that as well. We're supposed to be joined after the next break here by Nay Brown, former co-host of the Sports Tank when we were on News Radio 570 WWNC many years ago. But a former Philadelphia Eagle as well, former North Carolina Tar Heel, former Shelby Golden Lion, state champion, played for Andy Reid in Philadelphia, coached with Andy Reid with the Kansas City Chiefs. But unfortunately, we need all the thoughts and prayers going out to Nay Brown today because he is apparently sitting in an urgent care because he's had the flu for 3 weeks. I've been chatting with him off and on for the last, I don't think it's been 3 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. But he is socked down with the flu. So everybody raise a prayer up for Nay Brown. Hopefully he will get better from that real soon. Yes, like I said last night with when I was talking with Brad Johnson, last night Baker Mayfield lifting the NFC to an early lead in the Pro Bowl games. I didn't even know they were going on last night. And I don't care that the game's going on. I mean, are you guys getting all excited about Pro Bowl games? The skills competitions used to appeal to me when I was a kid, but now I don't know. I guess it's just changed so much that I'm off it. The old quarterback competition was way better than the quarterback competition that they have now. I may tune in on Sunday a little bit, but I don't know. Not really. Just the only thing to look forward to is really the kick-tack-toe competition. They'll do the gauntlet, and then they'll have the flag football game, which I don't see how they ever get an audience for it. But it is the NFL. More people to watch that than they're watching the NBA right now. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. When we come back from the break, instead of talking with Nay Brown as we've got on the schedule for today, since he is laid up with the flu. When we come back, we'll talk some college football. I saw an interesting article today on ESPN talking about the 12-team playoff. Good idea, bad idea? Does it take all of the air out of the sails of the regular season? We can talk about it coming up next. Hit us up in the YouTube comments, thesportsocracy.com. Live video link. Click it, and then subscribe to the channel. We'll be right back.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
All right, sunshine finally getting out as we get into the afternoon now. Going to be a beautiful Friday afternoon and evening as we'll have dry pavement for driving, lots of sunshine around, and comfortable temperatures, upper 50s. Tonight, a little bit chillier, down near 30 degrees, sunshine and 55 on Saturday. Sunday, sunshine near 50 degrees. And Monday now, sunshine with highs in the mid-50s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging.
This report is sponsored by Renewal by Andersen of the Carolinas.
Renewal by Andersen's here.
Kickstart the new year with this incredible deal. Buy one window or door and get the second for 40% off. Act now to schedule your free, no-obligation in-home consultation with my team at freewindowassessment.com. That's freewindowassessment.com.
Asheville Smiles Cosmetic and Family Dentistry is hosting a Fall in Love with Your Smile Invisalign scan event on Wednesday, February 14th. You're going to get a free simulated 3D scan to show how your teeth could look after an Invisalign treatment. This event is going to be so fun with giveaways that include discounts, local gift cards, and one lucky person can even win half off treatment. Attendees are going to get the best price on Invisalign in North Carolina. Visit AshevilleSmiles.com today to reserve your spot at the Fall in Love with Your Smile event.
This is Carolina basketball.
2-on-1. Baycott finishes the transition hammer. R.J. Davis, he's going to try a quick three. Yes, from the right sideline.
On the Tar Heels Sports Network.
Ends up to Baycott, and he gets the run out. Two-handed flush. Carolina, it's Davis. He's fouled, and give him it.
This is your radio home for the Tar Heels.
Asheville's home for the Tar Heels is ESPN Asheville.
It's bow time. Hurry into Bojangles for 2 scratch-made sizzling sausage biscuits for just $4. One bite and you'll want breakfast for dinner. Good thing we serve savory sausage biscuits all day. But this 2-for-4 deal won't last forever. It's bow time.
All right, people, it's Valentine's Day. Everything has to be perfect.
At Ingles, we know that not every Valentine's Day is 4-star perfection, with string quartets and swanky restaurants.
My boyfriend bought me flowers.
That it's not the money you spend or the elaborate lengths you go to.
Happy Valentine's Day!
It just has to come from the heart. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch.
Boy, you must be outside your mind.
The Sportsocracy.
Just a bit outside. He tried the corner and missed.
And I'm back on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. It's the Sportsocracy. Heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. Just tap dance while I touch all the buttons here. I'm not going to skip the big segment here without Flostradamus Jeremy Greene. He'll be coming in with us live at the top of the hour from the Senior Bowl. It is off day today for the Senior Bowl. They got a lot of media stuff that they do on Fridays, give everybody the day off to do other things before the big game coming up tomorrow. We'll touch base with Jeremy Greene at the top, see what the mood is like down in Mobile for the Reese's Senior Bowl coming up. Mark Andrews, one of my favorite players in the NFL. And now that I know, now that we have tangible proof that he is a great human being, then that makes me like him even more. Mark Andrews went on a plane yesterday. He was going from Baltimore to Phoenix. And while they were on the plane, 3 hours into the flight, there was a woman who started having some medical emergency, a medical experience, as they say in the story, in the middle of the aisles. Passengers started coming to her aid to try to figure out what was going on. One of the passengers said that she was going in and out of consciousness. Her blood pressure was low, and as Mark got wind of what was going on, he started eavesdropping on the conversation and realized that, well, he might be able to help her out. I did not know this, but Mark Andrews is a type 1 diabetic, so he offered up his testing kit that he had on him, which had insulin in it. It was able to stabilize the woman, and they were able to get her through the flight. She was able to walk off the flight under her own power. I've never heard anybody talk about a story like that before and use a football term like walk off under her own power in a medical emergency on an airplane. But I guess we all have to give kudos to Mark Andrews for stepping up in this woman's moment of need, realizing the problem, realizing that he could help out, and stepping up. Makes it, just makes the legend grow a little bit bigger. College football 2024. Who's going to make the 12-team playoff? That was the title of an article on ESPN.com today. And the point of it was not only to get a sense of who the best teams, obviously, in college football next year are going to be, but whether or not the 12-team playoff takes the juice out of the season. And I feel like it does. I know we're not all going to watch because it's not the NFL. We all watch the NFL. There's another portion of us who watch college football. I know there's a portion that only watch college football out there. But with this all changing, it no doubt takes the pressure off of the big teams. We've had this battle back and forth about the teams that are going to rule college football now with name, image, and likeness. They can all, some schools built better than others. Their histories are better. Their boosters are better. They have more money, no more resources to pull from, and they'll be able to get all the best and the brightest. Well, that's always been the case to me. Very rarely do you ever have small schools that can ever compete on the biggest level. And when I say small schools in college football, yes, I'm talking about the mid-tier Power 5 schools. Do you go into every year, or do you look at every team in Power 5 conferences and just say, yeah, I mean, they've got a chance to win it? No, some are made better than others. You look at the list of teams that have won championships over the years, and it's the Alabamas and the USCs and the Notre Dames. And I mean, it's been a long time since Notre Dame won one, but it's always all those teams. You might have an upstart team come along, like a Washington every now and then, that'll threaten for a championship. Could have won it this year, but in the end, what happened? It turned out to be Michigan, another blue blood program in college football. When you're at the top of the game, you can always pull the best and the brightest regardless. Now, when you give them more money, I don't argue that it's gotten worse. When you bring the money into it, obviously these schools have more resources. Obviously they're going to be able to give the biggest NIL packages, give the biggest contracts, dare I say, because that's where this is all headed. We've talked about the coaches that are leaving. Jeremy very concerned about the coaches that are all leaving the college game to go to the NFL. We had another one today. Liam Cohen is going to leave Kentucky. So he was at Kentucky, and then he went to the Rams, and then he went back to Kentucky, and now he's coming back to the NFL. he's going to be the new offensive coordinator for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which just further leads me down that path of I need to get used to Baker Mayfield, because Baker Mayfield was with Liam Cohen, when he was with that brief little stint with the LA Rams last year. So college coaches going pro never bothered me. Not even head coaches going pro ever bothered me. Head coaches going pro to get coordinator jobs, that doesn't bother me either. It's a better step up. It's a bigger chance. Now, when you go to Power 5 programs, right, when you have a group of 5 or an FCS, not FCS, I will say bottom rung college football head coach go take an OC job somewhere, again, the path gets better, but there again, it does make you question. Things like this just didn't seem to used to happen all that much. But anyway, you got the top teams that have the most resources. They're always going to be at the top. You look at the first game of the season next year for my Georgia Bulldogs. It's going to be Georgia and Clemson in one of those kickoff games. What does that game matter to anything? If Georgia loses, okay, so they won't be ranked number 1 in the country anymore, but it doesn't have any impact. If they'd lost that game, if they had the same game had been last year, and they lose that game, it's it. It's over. You're not going to make the college football playoff. You're not going to make the Final Four. You can't have that loss, plus the rest of your schedule will come, and chances are you're not going to be able to run the table. And we saw that they didn't this year, losing to Alabama in the championship game. But all of these teams are still going to be at the top, even with a loss, even with 2 losses. Do we go to 3 losses, 4 losses? What's the cutoff going to be? Why even have a conference championship game anymore? Both Alabama and Georgia are going to make the playoff regardless. Every analyst that weighed in on this 12-team playoff article today made their predictions on what the Final Four would look like. And you can probably guess who all the teams were that got votes. In the SEC, you had Georgia, Alabama, Texas, Missouri got a couple, and Ole Miss. The Big Ten had Ohio State, Oregon, USC, Michigan, and Penn State. All got votes by somebody to make the 12-team playoff next year. You had 4 from the Big 12, Kansas, K-State, Utah, and Arizona. Never more than one of those ever makes anyone's prognostication for the 12. They're only getting 1 in next year. The ACC, some had 2. Most of them only had 1 team from the ACC, Clemson, Florida State, or Louisville. And then everybody had Notre Dame in. Because going to 12, Notre Dame will never end up being ranked lower than 12th in the country. I mean, unless they just completely punt on the season, which I feel like, I don't feel like they've done that in a while. I don't know, maybe the Jack Cohn years. Trying to think back, they had maybe 4 losses that season. You're always going to be at the top with the best resources. But I think the biggest impact that this has, to me, is taking the pressure off of the regular season games. It's always been important to come in and win every game. And I'm not saying that it's not, and that any team will come in and be, it's all right if we lose this one. I'm not saying that. It's just that pressure point of win and you're in. Georgia versus Clemson, first week of the season. Doesn't matter who wins that game. They both end up going undefeated or winning their ACC championship or the SEC championship or even coming in 3rd in the SEC. In Georgia's case, you're in. There's no drama to that game. Michigan and Ohio State, nothing's ever going to take the real spice out of that game. But didn't it mean so much more when only one of you were getting into the college football playoff? Didn't it mean more when it was I'm going to send Ryan Day home crying in his Just for Men beard when we beat them. Go Big Blue. It just meant more. Now with 12 teams getting in, it takes a lot of that out of there. The only teams now that are going to be fighting for that are going to be the teams in the ACC, the teams in the Big 12, where the conference championship game is actually going to matter. It's actually going to tell you who's going to make the playoff or not. The group of 5. I know we don't care, and I know we all feel like they're going to just come in every year as the 12 seed and get automatically bounced, which is probably what's going to happen. We may have – I can see us going down the path where we have the story about the 12s in the college football playoff being like the 16s used to be in the NCAA basketball tournament. We'll get to a point where we've never had one win in 15 years, and then finally – hopefully an Appalachian State will come up with that win to be the first to ever do it. There's only 3 teams that are even on the radar for the college football playoff for the group of 5 next year, and it's Memphis, Liberty, and Boise State. Anybody believe that any of those teams should be competing on that higher level? Maybe you're a Florida State fan and you're all about the resume and the checking of the boxes, and that gets us in. For me, I don't care about any of that. I want the best teams. I want the best teams playing for the championship. And the 12-team playoff, I screamed for it for years because I thought it was unfair. We get down to the end of it and only 2 get in. And then when we went to 4, it was, but what about the 5th team? Now we've stretched it to 12. Now I'm completely disinterested in ever having that conversation. But Iowa was 13th. They should have made it in. No, maybe they shouldn't. Maybe 12 is too many. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Again, all of us college football fans, we're going to tune in regardless of how this goes, regardless of what the matchups are going to be. You probably may not be keen on tuning in to the Alabama hosting Liberty in the first round of the playoffs that we could have at some point. But it'll make the next rounds better, hopefully. That is the hope. I worry about injuries playing a role in the 12-team playoff. I guess no more than I normally worry about injuries having an effect. But it does add more competition. Right now you've added 2 more competitive games to the schedule where guys were barely getting through the games that we had on the schedule and surviving the injury bug. Injuries are going to happen, and it's going to be sad the first time that it happens that a quarterback's going to get hurt. Look what happened with Jordan Travis this year with Florida State. If that had happened in the playoff, how would you have felt about that? We would all feel a little cheated. Right? If Florida State had come in and they had Jordan Travis, and they were no doubt one of the top 4 teams in the country, maybe not offensively speaking, but the defense was good enough. You know, they had that Cleveland Brownie kind of thing to them. That sounds weird. I shouldn't say that. It sounds like I'm throwing shade at Jordan Travis, and I'm not. If it had happened in the playoff, we would have felt cheated. That we didn't get the best matchup. Or if Florida State had won that game, like they did in the Louisville game, in the ACC championship game. Somehow they were able to patch it up, second half, still come away with the win. Now you got to go to another game, an extra game more than you would have had without your quarterback. I get injuries happen. The 12-team playoff, it's going to be a success. We're all going to watch. I'm just saying there are some things about it to think about and may not put us in – it's not all peaches and cream. How about that? I guess that's what I'm trying to say. There is a bad part to bringing in 12 teams to compete here, and I think a lot of it is that it is going to take a lot of the urgency is the word I'm looking for. Urgency out of the regular season. Now you can win, now you can lose 2 to 3 games. As long as you're in the SEC or the Big Ten, depending on that strength of schedule, you're in. The perfect scenario or the perfect example was brought up in this article. Penn State. Penn State would have made the college football playoff this year. They got drugged by Michigan and Ohio State. The third best win on their schedule was against Iowa, who could not score to historic levels. Are we happy that a team like Penn State gets into the college football playoff now? No questions asked, because you're in the Big Ten. You get the benefit of the strength of the schedule for being in the Big Ten. You lost the 2 important pivotal games on your schedule, but because you beat everybody else, now you're in. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. Coming up at the top of the hour, Jeremy Greene will be joining us live from the Reese's Senior Bowl down in Mobile, Alabama. He's been hanging out there with Papa Greene, Mullet Jr. and Mullet Sr. Have been enjoying the festivities down there. We'll get his thoughts on who's been making waves, or I guess who else made waves yesterday in the third day of the practices. See if anybody, I don't know, might have made a fool of themselves at the Mardi Gras parade last night. Hopefully it wasn't. Our very own Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene. Coming up this weekend on ESPN Asheville and News Radio 570 WWNC, we're going to have college basketball action for you all day tomorrow. The big one here on ESPN Asheville is UNC and Duke. The big rivalry game going to be at the Dean E. Smith Center at the Dean Dome tomorrow evening. 5:30 is the pregame start. 6:30 is the tip-off at the Dean Dome. Jones Angell and the Tar Heel Network will have the coverage for you right here over on News Radio 570 WWNC. We'll have a big game for the UNC Asheville Bulldogs. Winthrop is coming into town. They are the hated rival, and we need to keep pace ahead of them in the Big South Conference standings. Currently, UNC Asheville in the tie for second. Winthrop is at fourth place, 1 game behind the Bulldogs and Gardner-Webb. We'll have that game for you coming up at 1:30 tomorrow on News Radio 570 WWNC, and then immediately following that game, or there might be a 20-minute buffer in between the end of our game and the pregame for the NC State Wolfpack taking on Georgia Tech, who just knocked off the Tar Heels the other day. That tip-off of that game is set for 5:30. Keep it locked into iHeartMedia Asheville all weekend long. News Radio 570 WWNC and right here on ESPN Asheville. Coming up after the top of the hour, Jeremy Greene, Flostradamus at ESPN Draft Nerd, joins us from Mobile.
The Asheville Buncombe Youth Soccer Association spring registration is going on now. Soccer is safe, fun, affordable, and a great way for kids to exercise and make friends. Registration ends soon.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-374-2103. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-374-2103 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-374-2103. 800-374-2103. 800-374-2103.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the Okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Before your workday turns into a tangled mess of open tabs and meeting reminders.
Get caught up with what really matters.
First News on 570 with Mark Starling. The latest news, forecasts, and traffic updates.
On News Radio 570 WWNC.
The Ingles 2024 Southern Conference Downtown Dribble and Kids Fest, presented by Champion Credit Union, will be held Saturday, March 9th, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Roger McGuire Greene at Pack Square Park. The Downtown Dribble will feature interactive games, inflatables, pep bands, cheerleaders, and a parade. Each participant will receive a basketball, Downtown Dribble t-shirt, and a ticket to the noon session quarterfinal basketball games. Check-in will begin at 9:30 a.m. at Roger McGuire Greene. To register, visit downtowndribble.eventbrite.com.
We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
All right, sunshine finally getting out as we get into the afternoon now. Going to be a beautiful Friday afternoon and evening as we'll have dry pavement for driving, lots of sunshine around, and comfortable temperatures, upper 50s. Tonight, a little bit chillier, down near 30 degrees, sunshine and 55 on Saturday. Sunday, sunshine near 50 degrees. And Monday now, sunshine with highs in the mid-50s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stagik.
Nothing says I love you like a clean home. This Valentine's Day, call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Right now, mention ESPN Asheville and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $109, plus a free hallway. Book online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
Crooked teeth may embarrass kids whose families can't afford braces. And trying to fix their teeth themselves can make things worse. Luckily, there's Donated Orthodontic Services, a program from the American Association of Orthodontists. For children and teens who qualify and are matched with a volunteer orthodontist, treatment can be life-changing and help them smile with confidence. Learn more at aaoinfo.org.
Beer City's best sports talk. Just earlier.
What time is it?
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery.
Time to nut up or shut up.
And some sports. The Sportsocracy. Weekdays, noon to 3 on ESPN Asheville.
The NFL playoffs are here, and there's no better way to stay up to date on the latest from our league than with the Around the NFL podcast. Join me, Dan Hansis, and my buds, Mark Sessler and Greg Rosenthal, for news and fresh content all playoffs long. We've been doing this together for over 10 years, and the playoffs always offer up something we've never seen before. We'll preview and recap every game as we make our way through the playoffs and to Las Vegas for Super Bowl 58. Listen to the Around the NFL podcast on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Heed the call.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart Radio Station.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website, Greene. That's Greene. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from your friends at ESPN Asheville.
The Sportsocracy.
It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Shake it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingles Studio.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. The Sportsocracy is heard everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. You can see us live on YouTube. Go to thesportsocracy.com. Click that live video link. Subscribe to the channel. That way you can join us in the chat. When you hit on that live video link, you will see us here in the studio, me and, Bird Jeremy, I guess. We need to name the bird, Jeremy.
Did you replace me with a bird?
I did. I've got the Philadelphia Eagle sitting up in your chair with your Seahawks hat on.
You got Squawky in my chair.
Squawky. I love Squawky. That's a good one. All right, so yeah, me and Squawky.
We named him at the draft a few years ago.
I don't remember. We did a lot of adult beverages at the draft. So
I've done a lot at the Senior Bowl, so I might be wrong on that.
Maybe misremembering that. We'll go with Squawky, though. So Squawky says, hey, he's holding your chair. He's keeping it warm for you until you get back on Monday. But so yesterday was day 3 of the Senior Bowl practices down there in Mobile. You and Papa Senior have been kind of keeping yourselves entertained today because no practices.
Yeah, no practices today. I'm cutting down a lot of the video. I'm watching some of the guys that I didn't get a great eye on. I mean, I'm only one guy, so I can't watch 4 things at one time. So we set up cameras and recorded some things that I'm going back and watching today. And found a couple guys that I like better than I thought I did.
Okay. Give me the names.
Ryan Flournoy, Southeast Missouri State. I thought I was enjoying what he was doing. Then I watched it back on tape, and I really like it. I think he's going to be a day 3 sleeper kid that we go back and watch this and go, yeah, no, the quarterback play for that American team just wasn't very good, and it skewed us. So I've been watching the one-on-ones with the corners, and I've been really impressed by him. The talent down here is just incredible. It's shocking how many things I missed that I've seen going back and watching it back.
Sorry, did anybody change your mind through day 3? Did anybody have a big pop day yesterday?
No, a lot of people are really happy with Spencer Rattler, and I feel like with Spencer Rattler, it's just you're seeing what you want to see, not necessarily what he's actually doing. And it's just because, look, this quarterback class is really top-heavy. You've got the 3 at the top, and then there's not much back behind it. It's beauty's in the eye of the beholder, but I mean, Baker Mayfield just proved in the right scenario he can get you to the playoffs.
That is the Lord calling you, Jeremy. It's time for you to.
I was about to say it's church time here, and apparently after last night there was enough domestic lights that it's time for us to repent.
Yeah, it is time for you to repent for your sins there. If that's supposed to be the 1:00 chime, they've missed it by a few minutes.
I don't know what that is. It's 12 o'clock here, so I just hope it's not going to ring 12 times.
Oh, my. It might go through 12 different cycles down there in Mobile. You never know.
I'm sitting in a park. All right, so last night this park was filled because you had Mardi Gras, you had the parade. I was stuck on the wrong side of it for an extended period of time. And trust me, nobody here cared who I was. I couldn't even say I'm with ESPN, just let me cross the street. They didn't care.
I was going to say, after yesterday, after we had talked about you're going to run out of time, you guys still went out.
Well, you want to play good, you try to play good, and I didn't necessarily play so good.
I
do have a nice. So something I learned last night is that there's different groups that have different parades down here. I have the most unbelievable set of beads in the history of beads that I'm going to put in my setup on the live stream. So they'll be there Monday with my Senior Bowl pass.
Yes.
It'll be like my little memory of the Senior Bowl. They also weigh like 5 pounds.
Nice. Just curious, do you remember what crew it was?
Inca.
The Inca. Yeah, that was a good one. I think I went to the Maoki parade was the one I went to when I was down there. Anyway, that's so cool. The Mardi Gras history and the pageantry of it all, and how everybody just buys in and gets into it and goes crazy it's awesome.
I've learned a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I've learned as much about the draft prospects as I have the history of Mardi Gras. One of them I intended. One of them just seems to keep happening every time I sit down for a domestic life.
So, with this experience, with going to the practices, seeing all of the prospects and things, you said that you've got a better grasp on some of the prospects themselves. Did it change how you feel about the process, though? Is the process that we put these guys through, and are they doing the appropriate drills, and do you get the appropriate amount of time to see these guys on the field? Do you think that it could be better, I guess? Is there any way they could improve it?
Well, I mean, you can always improve, but I must say there is a lot more, and I always knew there was more. I don't know that I knew how much more that went into this, and how much of this is, you would be shocked how many things I've learned over a cocktail down here. I mean, because we all watch the same practices, so we all saw the same things. And it's not that there's not two different ways to look at things. The same players have been jumping off to all of us. I've had probably 100 conversations about Tavondre Sweat since I've been down here.
Mm-hmm.
What's different is the things that not all of us see. So, guys, the way they come off the field, the way they interact with people that have had interviews with them. I've learned more about the personality of the player, and that's something that I've always had kind of a weakness because I didn't know. I don't interview these guys. I don't get to know these guys. But now I have connections of guys that do. Look, I'm not a good enough interviewer to walk up and go, "Hey, Michael Penix, what do you think you'll bring to a team?" Leadership. Awesome. So you gave me the same answer that the other 6 gave me. Sweet. I don't get much merit from that. What I do get merit from is that these guys I've met and I've come to kind of trust, and I think they have a really good opinion, saying, you know what, this guy was really kind, this guy really commanded a room, this guy was kind of a jerk, and it's a whole nother, I feel like it's a whole nother level of my evaluation of these guys. It's been very eye-opening. It's been a great experience. And like I told you off air the other day, I will never miss another one of these for the rest of my career. As long as I'm doing this, you can guarantee the week between the Super Bowl and the conference championship games that I'll be here in Mobile.
Right, and apparently we're gonna do our best to get up to Indianapolis for the Combine, I've been told by Flostradamus. So you guys can look forward to that.
Look, you can guarantee that Flostradamus will be there. The question is, can we convince Tank to leave the safe confines of the studio for him to join me?
Oh, I'm all the way in. I already gave warning to Mark Starling. Hey, so when the Combine comes around, we may have to have some fill-in work going on the morning show.
It wasn't Mark that I was so much worried about because, Mark, if he really got antsy about it, I could just walk in the meeting and go, "Do we have a problem?" And I think people would see it my way. It's more the Mrs. Spencer that I was.
Yeah. No,
have you?
No, I opined that to her. I said, so apparently we're going to be going to the Combine in Indianapolis, and she looked at me and she goes, "Oh yeah, have fun with that." I guess that's a yes, right?
Well, I mean, I'm not a defense attorney, but if I was, I would be using that in my opening and closing arguments. I believe that was acceptance.
100%. That was permission. Have fun with that means go ahead. I think I'm clear on that. It's all I understand about the rules of being married. When she says it's fine or have fun with that, it's a good decision. So
it's the discrepancy. You've been married a long time. I've been married a short time, and I called HWA last night and I said, there's no practice tomorrow. I don't know how we're going to fill 36 hours And her response was, "You'll find a way." Yeah, don't come back early. I'm enjoying the quietness of the house, and I really don't want to listen to you break down Michael Penix's strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah,
and talk about how much T'Vondre Sweat actually weighed.
Speaking of weight, there's a question in the YouTube comments here from Kelvin Joyner. He says, "What do you have to flash for 5 pounds of beads?"
We just talked about admittance and defense attorneys. I'm not sure I'm allowed to answer that question. I'll have to seek the permission of counsel to actually answer that. What happens in Mobile stays in Mobile.
Right. That's fair enough. You want to do some name dropping here for a second, because I'm curious of just some of the people that you have been able to witness on the sidelines down there this week.
I saw Jerry Rice pretty up close and personal. I think I saw T.O. I think that's who I was talking to. He was wearing sunglasses. I was wearing sunglasses. Neither one of us introduced ourselves, so I believe that's who that was.
Well, I'm really glad you didn't call him T.O. to his face if that wasn't him.
I'm not sure that the guy I was talking to wouldn't have gone with it if it wasn't him. Because I did at some point say I loved watching you play. So whoever it was, he did play. I know that much.
Okay.
Because he did not correct me on that.
Right, he didn't back up and go, "I never played."
So for me, and this is the nerd in me, I've been more intrigued by some of the former players that are now scouts. I ran into Quincy Wilson last night. He was a running back for the Falcons, and he's a coach now. He's actually one of the coaches for the American team. And I just sat there for 20 minutes. He could have talked about anything he wanted to. And I was just locked in and so intrigued. And so I've been more into the scouts and the media guys. I did do Car Bomb with a very, very popular media member. I'm not at liberty to tell you which one it was.
Let's just put it this way. You've read his stuff.
He has been referenced on the show, and I now know his drink of choice is an Irish Car Bomb.
When you told me you were doing car bombs, I'd figured you weren't doing terroristic activities. I figured that had to be a drink of some kind.
Yes, it's. I think it's Jameson in a Guinness, or Bailey's in a Guinness, or something. Here's what I know. With who that was that handed it to me, you could have told me it was kerosene inside of gasoline, and I would have drank it and dealt with the repercussions later.
Sometimes you just got to go with it, right?
Jeremy knows how the game's played. I didn't know if it was some kind of initiation. Like, hey, I'm a new guy. Is this the hazing that I've been told about? That's fine. I'll drink it. Let's go.
Nice. All right, we got the Senior Bowl coming up tomorrow. What time is the game?
It is noon Central here, 1 Eastern time.
All right, 1
Eastern. I think
Eastern.
it kicks off at 1:30 Eastern.
Okay. Tomorrow, around the lunchtime, you will be able to check out the Reese's Senior Bowl. We'll be looking for Flostradamus Jeremy Greene somewhere in the crowd. And looking forward to all of your reports on the things that you have seen this week. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll get into some of the NFL news as the coaching carousel continues to turn around the league. You're in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville.
Some people just know the best rate for you is a rate based on you with Allstate, not one based on anyone else. So if you drive safely, you could save money. Good to know. Visit allstate.com or call for a quote today.
Hear that? That's the sound of new digital instants from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Now you can play right from your phone and win real cash prizes. It may all sound new, but winning, oh yeah, big money, is as thrilling as ever. Register to play digital instants for a whole new way to win. Must be 18 to play. See prize and odds charts at nclottery.com/digital-instants for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
This is Carolina basketball.
2-on-1. Baycott finishes the transition hammer. R.J. Davis, he's going to try a quick three. Yes, from the right sideline.
On the Tar Heels Sports Network.
Ends up to Baycott, and he gets the run out. Two-handed flush. Carolina, it's Davis. He's fouled, and give him it.
This is your radio home for the Tar Heels.
Asheville's home for the Tar Heels is ESPN Asheville.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well,
trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
All right, people, it's Valentine's Day. Everything has to be perfect.
At Ingles, we know Valentine's Day doesn't have to be perfect.
Happy Valentine's Day.
It just has to come from the heart. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. Download our free app on Google Play or the App Store. Type in Asheville Home Search. You'll be able to connect with our team and see all the available homes for sale in our area. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
The Sportsocracy.
We're just dumber than a bag of hammers.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, 1400. This is the Sportsocracy. You can follow us on all of the social medias at the Sportsocracy. Check us out on the YouTube channel. You can see me and Squawky hanging out here in the Ingles Studio. Flostradamus, Jeremy Greene, out wandering the streets of Mobile, Alabama. Down there in.
Oh, you're not.
What?
You're not going to believe this, but I actually went for a run this morning.
You wait, what?
100%, I did. Yeah, I saw a park. I went. That looks like a place I used to run in Greenville, so I threw on some. It was the only semi-athletic thing I brought with me. And now when I say I went for a run, I went for a run to the bodega where they sell Monsters and nicotine products. And then I ran back and enjoyed those and didn't really get anything exercise-related out of it.
I was going to say, were you smoking the heater while you were running back?
I actually had, I'm going to be 100% honest with you. I quit smoking a long time ago, but I had a cigar the other night that I am telling you right now was it was a borderline religious experience.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have nicotine like that for a while.
Yep.
I also had that with somebody that you would know, but I can't tell you who it is.
throws you for a loop on that first one, doesn't it?
A little bit.
All right, so yesterday, Jeremy, we had the breaking news at the right before the program started that the Washington Commanders were signing Dan Quinn as their head coach, and we talked about how underwhelming of a decision that was. It was such an underwhelming decision that I thought it was quite hilarious when I got up this morning, and I'm getting everything ready for my morning sports report on WWNC and just kind of getting everything in line, perusing the headlines. That story got buried in a hurry. I mean, on everything. CBS, ESPN, all of the major websites had buried the lead on, or buried that story so much, and it just made me think, okay, yeah, the rest of everybody else feels like this, like I do. Just it's Dan Quinn. Okay, moving on.
Well, that's kind of what I told you yesterday. Is I don't know how you sell that to the fan base. And now, the stories come out that one of the candidates to be his offensive coordinator is going to be Chip Kelly, which I didn't think you could make that less intriguing than going, hey, you know what? You remember the fat guy that used to be the coach of the Eagles that kind of looks like Squawky? Let's make him the OC.
That was surprising when I saw that as well.
I had heard his name. His name's been mentioned several times since I've been down here.
I mean, there's a reason for that because he knows he's not
Well, there's
surviving.
2 reasons for that. Well, that's the biggest part.
Right.
Is that he's going into the Big Ten. He is bringing a knife to a gunfight with UCLA in the Big Ten, and he's wanted to be back in the NFL. I don't think he thought he was going to have to go the coordinator route, and that's why he took the UCLA job. He thought that he could be good enough at UCLA that somebody would be interested in him in the NFL, and it just hasn't panned out. He was a finalist for the Raiders, but they hired Cliff Kingsbury instead, which we haven't talked about that, but that is insanely interesting to me.
That we have not talked about it, so let's talk about it. Cliff Kingsbury back in the NFL after taking the year off to hang out with his smoking hot girlfriend or wife or whatever that relationship status is. He's coming back to the Raiders.
It's so different stylistically from what I think Antonio Pierce brings to the Raiders. And now you have this wide open, quarterback-centric offensive coordinator. It makes me wonder if there's a plan at quarterback that's not Aiden O'Connell. Because I can tell you with Cliff Kingsbury, it's not Jimmy Garoppolo. That's a sunk cost that they're going to eat that without a doubt. It makes me wonder if the Raiders are not a team to look for if one of the quarterbacks fails. Let's just say the top 3 doesn't go exactly how we think it's going to, which is Caleb, Drake May, Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Washington throws a curveball and takes Joe Alt or takes Marvin Harrison Jr. I wouldn't be shocked if calls started at 5 or at 6 or at 7, because I look at all 3 of those teams and go, you're in the catbird seat if a quarterback falls.
Mm-hmm.
I find it hard to believe that Cliff Kingsbury is going to try to run that offense with Aiden O'Connell.
He doesn't have a strong enough arm for that?
No, I don't have a problem with the arm strength. It's just it's a very different system. And I'm not saying he can't do it. There's a possibility he could. I think he's a bright kid and he's got a big arm.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know. There's a lot in that. And it's not that I need a specific kind of quarterback that I really want a guy that's familiar with it. And Aiden O'Connell's always run just diametrically opposite offenses to that. And so I saw that come down. And I just kept looking at it going, Antonio Pierce with Cliff Kingsbury. That feels like a really strange marriage.
Well, I mean, you want to get the best out of your offense, and the way to win in this league is the passing game. So let's open it up. Let's get some athletes in here and see what we can do. Yeah, I mean, you have to have the quarterback, and it makes sense what you're talking about. If somebody passes on a quarterback, how much would it take for them to move up from 13 to 5 to maybe get in front of Giants or the Falcons that would be chomping at the bit to get one of them quarterbacks?
Well, the thing I've been stuck on is the Giants are in a weird position because I almost feel like you would have to take receiver with the way this is going to break down, because I can't see them taking another offensive lineman in the top 6. I mean, I know Evan Neal's been bad. I get it. But you're going to have 4 linemen that you took in the first round. That doesn't feel right. And so if they look at Malik Neighbors or they look at Roma Dunze and they don't think there's as big a difference between those two as there is between Brian Thomas Jr. or some of the other guys that are Keon Coleman, they would be a team that can trade back. I did not have quarterback on the roster or on the radar for the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
And now I can't help but think that Jaden Daniels would be an ideal fit if he were to fall. I have never seen a player that I thought so highly of that had this little buzz as I have Jaden Daniels at this event. His name has not been said to me if I didn't say it first.
Really?
I find that really strange.
But everyone else has been mentioned, whether they're there or not.
Caleb's been talked about a lot. A lot of people find out where I'm from, and they want a debrief on Drake May.
Right.
Which, of course, of all players, that's the one that, I don't know. I'm right there with you. He could be really good, or he could be Mitch Trubisky. I don't think the latter is going to happen, but am I willing to stake my reputation on it? No.
So, ultimately, it's an interesting move. But, I mean, do you think that Cliff Kingsbury will be a useful offensive coordinator in this league?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, look, he scored in Arizona. I have no doubt they're going to score points. I'm just really intrigued. Antonio Pierce is a grinded-out, run-first, win with a defense. And you just brought in a coordinator that wants to go out 4 wide and throw it all over the yard. And it's to me, it's going to be a great case study in an arranged marriage of a head coach and a coordinator. Mm-hmm. Because if this works, I think you'll see it. You'll start seeing things like this happen more. Every defensive coach that didn't get a job in this cycle should be watching this going, can Pierce make this work? Because I think it would open them up to more jobs in the next cycle. Bill Belichick is one that comes to mind. Mm-hmm. Because that's something I've been told, that the reason he didn't get a job is because he wanted to just bring the whole band with him from New England, and nobody was really feeling warm and fuzzy about that.
No, I don't see how you can feel good about that.
Josh McDaniels, and it didn't play well. He didn't. His greatest ability was not his humility. Let me put it that way.
Right, because he's Bill Belichick, and so it's what we've all known about him all these years. He thinks he knows it all, and look, it's if you're buying me, you're buying my system, right?
And that's how it seemed to play in league circles, and it really appeared to me that there are a lot of people in this league that feel the same way about the Patriot way and the Bill Belichick system that I told you I do for several years. Mm-hmm. I don't think it plays in this league the way that it did 5 years ago. Because we saw it with Mac Jones. We saw it not work. And now it just seems like it's a common thought around the week I've just had. And here in Mobile, that's a common thought.
Because you have to think about how your coaches can relate to the players. And as the days go, he becomes more and more irrelevant to a point where, players can respect a coach. You can have a coach who has had success in the past and revere him for that. But when it comes to getting young guys to buy into a game plan, I mean, there's just, I don't know, it's a counterculture, right?
It very much is. And, there's been a lot of talk about who's up next and guys that didn't get jobs. I will tell you this. Ajiro Evero is very highly thought of. I've heard a lot of positive about him. And I'm curious. Has he landed anywhere?
No.
Do we know that yet?
No. As far as we know, he's coming back to Carolina. They let him They let him interview for head coaching jobs elsewhere, but the teams that have asked to interview him for their DC job, they have refused. So I don't know how that goes, right? I guess he is expected to be back as the DC in Carolina.
That's how I think that would go, and I think he's a much better candidate than I thought. Just the way that people had talked about him here, mm-hmm. And he's very revered for being able to kind of keep that defense intact with a lot of chaos in Carolina.
Ajiro Evero goes to what we were talking about a couple of days ago here on the program of, your last result doesn't necessarily mean you're not going to get another job somewhere. Like we hang this
absolutely.
We hang this over Dan Quinn's head of the Super Bowl, right? He blew the Super Bowl against the New England Patriots, and he'll never be a head coach in this league anymore. We didn't give that much to Kyle Shanahan, and he got to move on and get jobs.
Because Kyle Shanahan's the one that actually blew that Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan is the reason that the Atlanta Falcons do not have a Super Bowl, because he couldn't stop throwing.
Mm-hmm.
You had needed to bleed the clock, and he had no ability to do that.
Right.
And for some reason, that stink hangs on Dan Quinn. I'm not super intrigued by the hire with Washington, but it's not because of that Super Bowl. It's more because of what I've seen with that defense in Dallas, that it seems to come up small in the biggest times. Mm-hmm. That's what Dan Quinn did in Dallas. And it was good in the regular season. It was good against bad competition. But every time you really gave it a challenge, they got annihilated. And now he doesn't have that kind of talent in Washington.
It was more of a disservice to Dan Quinn that he was the head coach of that team than it was that Kyle Shanahan was the OC. And that kind of baffles me. Like, the more and more I thought about it after we talked about it initially, and I was like, I don't know if he's a guy that needs another shot. I started thinking about it more and more of, wait a minute, that's not fair. And I get I'm maddeningly inconsistent about a lot of things, but
you are.
That's just another one of, I give the nod to Kyle Shanahan, or the benefit of the doubt, or he needs another chance. I'm not willing to do that for Dan, and I am now. This is my mea culpa, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Because
I hammer Kyle Shanahan, and no, he's not. He's not, and I mean, I understand why he deserves another shot. The thing with Washington that gets me is that you sold me on Ben Johnson, and then you sold me on Bobby Slowick, and then you gave me Dan Quinn. Mm-hmm. That would be like going to one of these wonderful seafood restaurants here in Mobile, Alabama, and getting a double cheeseburger from McDonald's. There's nothing wrong with it. I love what you just handed me, and there's merits to what you just handed me, but it's not what you told me I was going to get.
Right. I was expecting something with a little bit more appeal rather than the garden variety, which we feel like Dan Quinn is just another retread. And I still have a hard time thinking you just hired the same damn coach that you just had.
That's another part of this that just baffles me, is that you did hire the exact same thing that you just fired.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All right, we are going to take a quick break here. We'll come back after the bottom of the hour. Jeremy, you still good to hang on with us here?
I'm just walking around watching people.
All right, cool. Well, we will be back with you in just a moment here in the Ingles Studio on ESPN Asheville. Continue to talk about the coaching changes in the NFL, because we got a lot more to cover, including my team going to the college ranks to get their new offensive coordinator. And we got a couple of questions in the YouTube chat as well. And we will get to those momentarily here on ESPN Asheville.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
All right, sunshine finally getting out as we get into the afternoon now. Going to be a beautiful Friday afternoon and evening, as we'll have dry pavement for driving, lots of sunshine around, and comfortable temperatures, upper 50s. Tonight, a little bit chillier, down near 30 degrees. Sunshine and 55 on Saturday. Sunday, sunshine near 50 degrees. And Monday now, sunshine with highs in the mid-50s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging.
This report is sponsored by Allstate.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's BABBEL.com.
Get ready for the big game with the free iHeartRadio app, the official partner of the NFL Podcast Network, featuring the biggest names in the game like Ross Tucker and his daily NFL podcast, NFL Now, and many more. Search NFL and listen now. iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
All right, people, it's Valentine's Day. Everything has to be perfect. Yes, Dad.
At Ingles, we know that not every Valentine's Day is 4-star perfection, with string quartets and swanky restaurants.
My boyfriend bought me flowers.
That it's not the money you spend or the elaborate lengths you go to.
Happy Valentine's Day!
It just has to come from the heart. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
On the weird scale, there's Vegas, there's Florida, and there's Asheville. Let's get weird, Asheville.
Back in the Sportsocracy on ESPN Asheville, joined by phone by Flostradamus Jeremy Greene. You got your weird story ready there, bro?
I mean, you can't see what I see, so it's going to be hard for me to impart.
I wasn't intending on starting with the weird story, and then I saw this headline. I figured I had to impart it because I don't know if you've seen this story just yet, but the Jacksonville Jaguars, you know, they had the employee who stole $20 million from them.
Yeah.
And was using it on daily fantasy sports apps or bets on FanDuel and such. The Jacksonville Jaguars went to FanDuel and asked them to give the money back.
That didn't go their way.
No. They apparently went to FanDuel, said, "Hey, so that Patel guy, he stole our money. Can you give that back to us?" And yep, they went, "No, I don't believe we will. That's our money." You need to sort that out with Mr. Patel.
It would have been funnier if they'd gone to, if FanDuel's response had been, "Well, you stole millions of dollars from your fans, making them think you were an actual contender."
Oh, that's beautiful.
You give that back, we'll talk about giving yours back. Sound good? Didn't think so.
The source familiar with the situation said the discussions are ongoing among FanDuel. Said that the source said that the way that they see it, though, we got the money fair and square. It's not our problem that we have to forfeit it back to you. No kidding. That's so. I don't know that shocks me at all.
Sounds like something Joe Biden would ask for.
Or Trent Baalke, either one.
Yes.
The coaching carousel is it's all spun out as far as head coaches are concerned. We've got all of those now filled after Dan Quinn was hired yesterday by Washington. Mike McDonald was the one before that going to Seattle. Everybody else has settled on their head coaches. The assistant coaching ranks, there's been a lot of movement in that, and we got a question from JT Money in the chat here. He wants to know your thoughts about the Steelers and their offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith. How do you feel about that?
I think that's a good landing spot for him. I mean, look, Arthur Smith is, unfortunately, he's always going to be tethered to the decision to ride with Desmond Ridder, who may be the worst quarterback I've ever seen. Start that many games in the NFL. He'll always be tied to that, but people seem to be forgetting that he made the most out of Ryan Tannehill. He got a lot out of the running game. I feel like Najee Harris and Jalen Warren should be really encouraged. He's got a lot of weapons there. The question is, can he get the most out of Kenny Pickett? Now, Pickett's a slightly different quarterback than he's had in the past. I never thought him to be overly mobile, but he's not a statue either. And so I think you're going to see more of the play-action game. I actually thought it was a really good hire. But I feel like people get into this situation that they see a name that's been a diminished asset elsewhere, and they don't seem to realize that there's only two kinds of coaches that you can get as an offensive coordinator. You're either going to get the coach who has been somewhere else and is a bit of a diminished asset, but they still think he's really good, or you're going to hire the up-and-comer that you have no idea what they're going to be as a play caller. I know what Arthur Smith is as a play caller. I know what Mike Tomlin is as a head coach. Do I think that makes you a Super Bowl contender? No, but I also don't think there was a coordinator you could have hired that would
have. Armchair Commentary wants to know about the Patriots hires. He said,
"Don't make me be mean on vacation."
He said, "Are they outside the box? They feel." He said they feel outside the box. Not bad, but not superstar. You got Gerard Mayo as the new head coach.
DeMarcus Covington's the defensive coordinator.
Yeah, he elevated Covington to the DC. And
I like that one. I'm okay with that. That's a guy that's familiar in the system. He's a former player. I understand what he's doing there. Then you get into the one that I have to be not so nice about.
Offensive coordinator Alex Van Pelt from Cleveland.
All right, so Van Pelt's been around the block. He was in Buffalo. He was in Cleveland. He was in Jacksonville, I think.
Sounds right.
I don't know why I'm supposed to be excited about this. He's never been the, oh, look, I had the best offense in the league. Oh, I had a top 10 even offense in the league. He's done little with a lot, and now he's being asked to do a lot with a little, and I just don't know how that's going to work. I feel like, look, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Jet fan. I get accused of that anytime I say anything negative about New England. I feel like if you look around the league right now, and you look at what Seattle did, you look at what some of these other teams have done that had head coaching openings and then fill in the staff. I feel like there are 31 teams in the NFL that do things a more modern way, a more current NFL way. And then you have New England that seems to be so locked into 1999 that they can't get away from it. You know, we promote the coordinator. When was the last time you remember a team doing that? I've been trying to think about this since you asked me that there was a Patriots question coming. And I've been trying to remember who was the last coordinator that got elevated in the NFL that didn't at least run 6 games as an interim and succeed. Just you fired a coach and you kept a coach from the previous staff.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot think of one. I know there is one. I just can't think of who it is.
I'm sure there are. I mean, there've been a couple of them that have been promoted this cycle. Baltimore with Zach Orr.
No. You're not understanding what I'm asking. I'm talking about a coordinator that was promoted your head coach.
Oh.
You fire the coach, and our solution is his DC.
Well, yeah. Okay,
Nobody
I see what
does
you're saying.
that. And there's a reason they don't do that, because it doesn't make any sense.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have the guy that's been under the guy, and now you're going to elevate him, and it's going to get better. And DeMarcus Covington, I think he's an up-and-comer in this league. I was really curious who the offensive coordinator hire was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I was hoping, for the sake of New England Patriot fans, that was going to be some outside-the-box hire and a guy that could really encourage you. I kid you not. I wrote down 5 names when Gerard Mayo got hired. Alex Van Pelt was the 4th one.
Really?
Of who the next coordinator of the New England Patriots was going to be. And the other 4 were in that same vein of they've been coordinators before. It's never been really encouraging. And when I saw the hire, I went, yep, that went about exactly how I thought it was going to.
Just because you felt like there wouldn't be anybody else with more options to take that job? Is that how he ended up on your short list?
No. Alex Van Pelt would have had opportunities around the league. I don't know if it would have been as an offensive coordinator. I know teams would have talked to him because he's got experience and he's an experienced play caller. I don't know that anybody was hiring him. And I guess that's how I'm looking at the rest of the staff. I'm just looking at it from top to bottom going, would anybody else in the NFL have hired Gerard Mayo as their head coach? And my answer is an overwhelming no. Like, would Washington have hired Gerard Mayo instead of Dan Quinn? I don't think so. I don't think you're hiring Gerard Mayo over Mike McDonald. I don't think you're hiring him over – and that's just where I'm coming to with New England, is you're doing that same thing that you've done for the last 5 years. You think you're smarter than the rest of the NFL. And so you're doing things your way, the Patriot way. And I just don't have any belief that it's going to work.
Andrew Ayers wants to know what we think about Vic Fangio taking the D.C. job with the Philadelphia Eagles.
To me, that's a great hire. It's a great hire because I know what Vic Fangio is. I know he's going to bring an aggressive defense. You've got all kinds of talent. And I just think things came off the rails in Philadelphia this year. That's still a super talented roster. The NFC is not going to get overwhelmingly better. I will say that you now have, I think now Detroit hangs on for at least another year. And so you've got Detroit, you've got San Francisco, you've got Dallas, you've got Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
I think Green Bay is right on the periphery of that. They may be in that. And then there's a drop off a cliff to me with the other teams in that conference. I have a bit of a belief in Seattle because I do like Mike McDonald, and you've got a lot of young talent that I think he can do a lot with. I still don't know what the offense is going to look like, so it's hard for me to give much on that. But for Fangio, I feel like that's an experienced guy that can rein in Nick Sirianni. You give Sirianni control of the offense, and now I feel like you've at least given yourself a chance.
Mm-hmm. Taylor M. wants to know who's going to be the Saints OC. I haven't heard anything. I haven't seen any rumblings of that. What are you hearing?
I've heard 100 names, and I don't think I've heard one of them twice. I would love to give you an answer. I just don't have one. It's been I've heard from pillar to post on that. John Gruden's the only name that's come up a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But when I've talked to people down here, there's still that tenet of, are you going to be the team that gives him a top 3 position? You know, one of the coordinators, head coach. Are you going to be the team that breaks that wall? And I'm just not sure. I think that was probably the most likely. I've heard a lot of people around here really kind of poo-poo that and say, can he be on the staff? Sure. Can he be the coordinator? I'm not so sure.
Mm-hmm. Like a pass game coordinator or something.
Yeah, something like that. Kind of like the Jets have with Todd Downing, where they have Nathaniel Hackett as the OC, but they've got Todd Downing as the passing game coordinator. I could see something like that where he gets a title, and maybe you do that for a year or two, and then he could get back to that spot. I'm not sure. If it was going to happen, it would be in New Orleans because he's already there.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of a candidate that I've heard this week, I've heard a lot once.
Andreas Pinkney says he's hearing that they're hot on Clint Kubiak.
That's a name I've heard that name once this week. I don't know if maybe I heard that name and I was just not overly encouraged. I mean, the one that I would have chased would have been Gerard Johnson, the quarterback's coach from Houston.
Mm-hmm.
But I've said that about several jobs. I think he's really, really, really good. And the fact that Houston was able to keep him with Bobby Slowick is an absolute coup. I thought a team was getting Slowick as the head coach and Gerard Johnson as the OC, and that was going to be my favorite hire of the cycle.
Well, John Johnson, or is it John Johnson? Josh Johnson?
Gerard Johnson.
Gerard Johnson, excuse me. I know I saw that he was brought in for an interview with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to be their new OC, but they're not doing that. They're bringing in somebody who's familiar with Baker Mayfield. Liam Cohen coming back to the NFL from Kentucky after a year, and he will go join Baker down in Tampa, apparently.
Yeah, it's an interesting hire. We tried this one time before, and I mean, look, I think Liam Cohen's a really good coach. He falls into that. You've hopped jobs a lot, and I don't have anything negative to say about the hire. I think he's a really good coach. It just kind of scares me. I'm looking at Todd Bowles, who you know how I feel about Todd Bowles. I don't really believe in him. And now you've given me an offensive coordinator that I don't trust to hang around for more than 12 months. That's a little frightening to me. Oh, by the way, just since you brought up your Buccaneers,
yeah,
there is no person I have talked to this week that doesn't believe Baker Mayfield's getting at least $30 million a year for at least 3 years.
I can do 30. I can't do 40. 30 will still hurt me.
I didn't hear 40 as much as I thought I would.
30 will still hurt me, but 40 is out of the question.
I heard $100 million 3 years probably 50 times.
I mean, well, he is the champion of the quarterback competition now, so there's that.
Oh, did he win that? I said we ate at a seafood restaurant down here last night, and the parade movements had started, and we realized we were on the wrong side, and there was no shot for us to get back to the hotel. So I saw it on, and then I didn't think about it again until you just said it.
Yeah,
because we had to cram down 8 shrimp, pay the bill, and run.
Yeah, it was him and C.J. Stroud in the final, and Baker got out to an early lead, and who's shocked, he did checkdowns for 1-pointers for his final 3 throws, and C.J. couldn't make the big throw to catch up. So he even had to check down the quarterback competition.
Did he scream Rashad White every time he hit the 1-point checkdown?
He should have. He absolutely should have. Either that or Kate Otten.
When he signs this big deal, he should give Rashad White. He should give Rashad White at least $5 million, just solely because that's how he got here.
Oh, precisely. Let's see. Were there any other big coaching hires that stuck out to you as far as like coordinators and such were concerned?
Well, Kingsbury was the biggest one. That's the one that I looked at and just I am intrigued by that fit. I'm intrigued by how that went.
Did we talk about Kellen Moore
in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
I think we mentioned it before I left. I'm interested. That one's more interesting to me than Vic Fangio because I feel like Fangio is going to really control the defense. And I don't know. I don't really know what the relationship between Kellen Moore and Nick Sirianni is going to be. I'm intrigued by how that looks and how that sounds and how that goes over the course of the year.
As far as my calculations go, I see we're at New Orleans, Washington, and the Chargers. They are the teams with open OC jobs right now. And then we still have Miami, the Giants, Washington, the Chargers with DC jobs open. And I've got Carolina on my list, too, because I don't know what's going to happen with Ejiro Evero.
I feel pretty sure Avero's coming back.
I would think so.
I will be shocked if he doesn't.
But I mean, of all of the movement that we've had, that's where we're at. We got like 7 open jobs right now. So the carousel is slowly coming to a close here as we get ready for the Senior Bowl coming up tomorrow in Mobile, Alabama. Jeremy Greene, you and Papa Greene will be on hand live for that, making your trek back here, and you'll be back in the studio with us on Monday, right?
That is correct.
All right.
Our goal is to fire it. Well, we're going to go to the game, try to get out of here quick, and hopefully be home by midnight. That's the objective.
All right, so just not even breaking it up, just taking it all in one stride. I like it.
Well, and we may still break it up. We're according to Mullet Senior, we're playing it by ear, and playing it by ear means that we're going to get to Atlanta, and I'm going to say, "Are we nesting here?" And he's going to go, "Oh God, no." I've heard about Atlanta traffic since this trip was brought up.
Oh no.
So I'm going to say I doubt that we nest there, and I'll bet we get to Greenville, and he just goes, let's just go. So I'm totally fine with it. Or he's going to get sleepy, and I'd say, let's stop in Atlanta, and I'm going to be like, well, let's just get to Greenville, and then I'm just going to drive home. That's also
right.
possible.
That's usually how that goes. Okay, all right, good deal. Well, y'all be safe on the road. Enjoy the game tomorrow, and we'll look forward to all of the tales back here in the studio on Monday.
Oh, Monday will be a banger. I've got a lot of stories that I wanted to have my face on camera for. I've kept a week's worth of stories in the old pocket.
Yes, cannot wait. All right, it is the Sportsocracy, ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. When we come back from the break here at the top of the hour, we will kind of venture into Ocho territory here We're going to get some baseball talks, college basketball as well with Doug Maurer, the voice of the Asheville Tourist, coming up at the top of the hour. Plus, we will be joined in the next hour by ESPN's Ryan McGee to talk college football and some NASCAR as we got the Busch Clash coming up this weekend.
Win $1,000 in inflation compensation.
I just won $1,000.
And kick your new year into high gear.
What? No way. Thank you. I try every day. That's great.
Happening now.
Woo! Brought to you by PSG. PSG Traffic Services exists to save lives by providing safe work zones and to provide all your traffic needs. PSG is hiring team members. Excellent pay and benefits. Call 910-821-1720 or visit psgtrafficservices.com.
Even if you take excellent care of your teeth and gums at home, you still need to see a dentist regularly. And at Asheville Smiles, they have all the latest and greatest technology, which is so important because they are able to catch issues quicker and diagnose more accurately. Many dental problems, they don't even become visible or cause pain until they are in more advanced stages. So when you are thinking about 2024, you need to make sure that you think about your overall health and make that dental appointment. World-class dental care with a hometown feel. It's AshevilleSmiles.com.
Contact Tax Relief Helpers for details and restrictions. Attention anyone that owes money to the IRS. The IRS has restarted aggressive enforcement actions against taxpayers who owe back taxes that were temporarily suspended for COVID. If you owe $10,000 or more, you must hear this because now is the time to clear your IRS tax debt. A special toll-free number has been established so you can stop penalty fees, avoid liens, levies, and other hostile measures by the IRS. Call Tax Relief Helpers right now at 800-374-2103. Tax Relief Helpers will provide you with the maximum protection afforded by law.
I got behind on my taxes and owed $48,000. I didn't know what to do. I called and they got my bill lowered to just $3,500.
I owed $87,000 in taxes and it was scary. I got the amount I owed down to just $3,500. I saved $83,500.
If you owe money to the IRS, don't wait another day. Call 800-374-2103 right now before the IRS enforces liens, levies, and other aggressive measures. The call and consult are absolutely free. Call now. Call 800-374-2103. 800-374-2103. 800-374-2103.
The Ingles 2024 Southern Conference Downtown Dribble and Kids Fest presented by Champion Credit Union will be held Saturday, March 9th, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Roger McGuire Greene at Pack Square Park. The Downtown Dribble will feature interactive games, inflatables, pep bands, cheerleaders, and a parade. Each participant will receive a basketball, Downtown Dribble t-shirt, and a ticket to the noon session quarterfinal basketball games. Check-in will begin at 9:30 a.m. at Roger McGuire Greene. To register, visit downtowndribble.eventbrite.com.
If cleanliness is next to godliness, look around the car right now. Is that very godly? Look, life comes at you fast, but so does WNC Auto Detailing. They have the tools to make your interior look like it's coming off the showroom floor. You don't believe me? Check them out on Instagram. All that filth and years of stains disappear. WNC Auto Detailing does full interior and exterior details with paint correction, and they do wax and ceramic coatings. Call WNC Auto Detailing at 455-3700. Premium care with a Southern hospitality touch. The best season of the year is here.
Tailgate season.
Monster Brewing presents this season's MVP,
The Beast Unleashed.
with 4 bold, familiar flavors.
With 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Beast Unleashed is your new pregame ritual.
With white haze, mean green, peach perfect, and scary berries, there's a flavor for every fan. The Beast Unleashed.
6% alcohol by volume. Unleashed responsibly. Must be 21 or over. Beast Unleashed available at your local retailer.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
All right, sunshine finally getting out as we get into the afternoon now. Going to be a beautiful Friday afternoon and evening as we'll have dry pavement for driving, lots of sunshine around, and comfortable temperatures, upper 50s. Tonight, a little bit chillier, down near 30 degrees. Sunshine and 55 on Saturday. Sunday, sunshine near 50 degrees. And Monday now, sunshine with highs in the mid-50s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Stajic.
People who suffer from arthritis are getting real pain relief with exciting biologic therapies at QC Kinetics.
The success rate is there, and there's no better way to treat yourself when it comes to dealing with pain.
Meet Tyler Vale, co-founder of QC Kinetics, who says they can't cure arthritis, but they can treat the pain.
If you think of the tide coming in and out on the beach and what it does, it erodes the sand, right? Can't stop the tide, but eventually when the sand or the beach gets bad enough, we backfill that beach with sand so that we get generations of enjoyment with that beach again. And the same thing happens happens with your knee or your shoulder or your hip or your back. We want to backfill the problems that have happened to this point. I'm not stopping the tide, so I'm not stopping the arthritis, but I want to get generations of enjoyment out of those joints again.
Call QC Kinetics now for your free consultation. Learn more about how restorative biologic therapies can get you real and lasting joint pain relief.
Call QC Kinetics, 826-333-9517. That's 828-333-9517. QC Kinetics, 828-333-9517.
From the Ingles Studios, this is ESPN Asheville, WPEK, W225CJ Fairview, WMXF Waynesville, and iHeart radio station.
I'm glad you agreed to this date, Mr. First Tuesday.
Oh, me too, but I have to admit something. I've never been on a first date.
But you are a date, and first is in your name.
Yeah, I guess I've just been married to my work, you know? Spreading the news about new scratch-offs coming out every first Tuesday.
New scratch-offs release every first Tuesday?
Wait, you don't know about new scratch-off tickets that come out the fur? Okay. Well, okay. You got me.
Must be 18 to play. Problem Gambling Helpline, 877-718-5543.
Now, your chance to win $1,000. Just enter this nationwide keyword on our website. Credit. That's credit. Enter it now.
Log on now to ESPNAVL.com. And good luck from your friends at ESPN Asheville.
The Sportsocracy.
It fires me up, man. I love it. Say it one more time.
The Sportsocracy.
Shake it back!
Beer City's best sports talk.
It is gross.
Just earlier.
They are mature, actually. You just have to get to know them better.
Your lunchtime dose of dumbassery. Live from the Ingles Studio.
It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. This is the Sportsocracy, and we are heard everywhere on the iHeart Radio app. We are seen everywhere on YouTube. Just go to thesportsocracy.com. Click the live video link, subscribe to the channel, join us in the chat. I'm Tank Spencer. Squawky is sitting in the studio with us because Flostradamus isn't here, so YouTube viewers, you're enjoying the nice little shot of Squawky over there. He's not really an official Philadelphia Eagles mascot, but he was once owned by Josh Michael, and I guess he's still owned by Josh Michael. He just left him at the studio, so we have him fill in every now and then when one of us is not in the studio. Jeremy down at the Senior Bowl, and appreciate him taking out the time for us to out of his busy day to join us and talk some Senior Bowl and NFL coaching carousel with us in the last hour. This hour, we're getting into more of the Ochos territory. Our good friend Armchair Commentary and Stone Sports Podcast, they run the Sportsocracy, the Ocho, on Wednesday nights where they talk about things other than football. And we're going to talk some baseball right now, maybe a little college basketball as well, with Doug Maurer, the voice of the Asheville Tourists. Doug, thanks for taking out the time for us, man.
Tank, I am so excited. It's been too long, my friend, but we're coming up on a really cool part of the sports season with spring training around the corner, conference play in college basketball, March Madness not too far away.
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's all about for me.
I figured we needed to touch base before you and I get involved with the SoCon like we do each and every year. Always have fun broadcasting those games with you every SoCon tournament. But this is a big year for the Asheville Tourists. 100 years of McCormick Field.
Yeah, it's a pretty incredible anniversary when you think about it. The Asheville Tourists first became a professional baseball organization all the way back in 1897. We were known as the Asheville Moonshiners at the time. And then the following campaign was, I believe, in 1910. So there was about a 12, 13-year break. And then in 1915 is when we officially became the Asheville Tourists. And we've had the name changed, here and there for a couple of seasons. But most people don't realize McCormick Field, the home of the Asheville Tourists, it was built in 1924. So during those first seasons, the Tourists weren't playing at McCormick Field. But 1924, the stadium was built, and we're going to celebrate its 100th year to the day on April 3rd, 2024. It'll be an exhibition game against the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. They come to town because 100 years prior, it was the Asheville Skylanders
hosting the Detroit Tigers in this ballpark for the first ever game. The Tigers had Ty Cobb, Heidi Manouche, Harry Heilman, 3 Hall of Famers in that outfield. And, of course, Asheville ended up winning the game, but it was an incredible spectacle then, and hopefully April 3rd of this year we'll be able to at least showcase some of that history for the 100-year anniversary to the day.
Yeah, it's been a long history, obviously, of Asheville Tourist baseball here. 100 years of McCormick Field, and I used to love hearing the old stories of McCormick Field back in the day. One of the guys that went to my church, he has passed on, but his name was Sam Patton. You probably have heard that name. Sam was big in the Asheville community for a long time, and the greatest story he ever told me, and forgive me if I've told you this story before, but he used to play in the outfield at McCormick Field. They didn't have a wall. All they had was that big hill back there with all the weeds on it. And so you would have balls that get hit out there and you lose them in the weeds. And he didn't think that was fair. So to even things up, he used to carry a baseball in his back pocket. And so he would go out there and act like he's looking for the ball and then just, oh, look, I found it. I always thought that was the greatest story. That was the early days of the cheating in baseball.
Well, it's funny you mention that, Tank, because I have heard about Sam Patton, and one of our season ticket holders, Pam Demas, is told me many stories. And one of the things with Sam Patton was when teams would hit the ball into the weeds out there behind the outfield, and there was no wall, opposing managers and opposing players just could not figure out how Sam Patton knew exactly where the ball was every time. And when they would ask him about it, his response was, oh, well, I've played here so long and I've practiced. I know exactly where the ball's going to roll down to once it lands up there. I've learned all the crevices, so I know exactly where to go based on where I see the ball enter the weeds. And that was his what he said to the opposing teams to kind of quiet them down. Said, no, it's all on par.
Yep. We know the truth now. Man, I miss that guy. He was such a great guy. So yeah, big special year for the Tourists. I know we don't know much about the team right now. We know Nate Shaver's coming back to be the manager for 7th year in a row?
Not quite that long, Tank, but this will be year number 4.
Number 4, okay.
Yeah, and we became affiliated with the Astros in 2021, and he's been our guy ever since that affiliation took place. And that's always key, especially for someone in my position who works so close with the coaching staff, being able to have continuity at that position. I know exactly when Nate's going to have his lineup ready for the day before. If there's something that I need to get done, whether it's, hey, I want to get him on the Sportsocracy, I want to get him somewhere else, he's very receptive to doing things like that. And so anytime you have someone new, you're kind of learning their system. But with Nate, for me, I know what he's about. He's very organized. He wants to win. I know we have not had a really great team in the past couple of years when it comes to wins and losses. And I think one of the things that has hurt us in that category has been the fact that anytime we've had players who have proven that they could play at this level and they can help lead us to victories, the Astros have moved them up. They don't necessarily mess around. They want to see what these guys can do at higher levels.
No, when your major league ball club is winning like the Houston Astros are, it's harder, I guess I should say, to restock the shelves. And when you do have guys show up a little bit, it's not as stocked as the cupboard might have been under a lesser of a major league organization, right?
It's perfect point, Tank. You're exactly right. So the Astros, a good example would be this year they made a trade to add Justin Verlander for their playoff push. We lost our top 2 prospects. They traded their first-round pick from this past year, Drew Gilbert out of the University of Tennessee, and a kid named Ryan Clifford who was just tearing it up here in Asheville. And then they moved on. They're not going to help the Tourists win games anymore. When you're winning at the big league level, it's just like other sports. You're drafting at the end of every round. So you're not picking in the top 10. You're picking 30th or 28th. Second round comes along. You're at the back end of that round. So you're not necessarily seeing the top prospects in these drafts that end up in your organization. So it takes a really kind of a deep unit, a well-meshed unit to be able to win at the high A level, which we're at. And with the way the Astros like to move guys around, it's been tough for Nate to be able to really consistently put that winning product on the field. And that being said, real quick, Tank, I mean, he's already had 6 guys play here in Asheville in his time that have made their major league debuts. He develops these guys. He gets them ready and gets them up there, which is key. But I have a feeling this year it's going to be a little different. I think the system is a little better when it comes to depth. I think the Astros might give us an opportunity to hold on to guys a little bit longer. They've made some shakeups in their player development system. So with Nate, I think he's going to be really focused not just on developing guys, but making sure the Tourists are a winning club this year.
February is always an exciting time for baseball fans because we got a lot going on. It's the lull right before the season starts and spring. Just waiting for that first report of pitchers and catchers report for spring training is just the tip of the iceberg for the season. Orioles fans, we used to be an Orioles affiliate, so let's talk about the Orioles for a second here. Cal Ripken Sr. obviously was a manager here for the Tourists back in the day. The Orioles have been sold or are being sold, and Cal Ripken Jr. is going to be a part of the new ownership group there.
I'll tell you what, the Orioles have been really making a lot of waves, and credit to them. They had a 101-win season last year. The buzz is high when you talk about the Orioles. One of the cool things that I think, you talk about the Orioles, you mentioned Cal Ripken Sr. He's a top 10 winningest manager all time for the Asheville Tourists. Cal Ripken Jr., the great Cal Ripken Jr., his son was a bat boy for the Asheville Tourists when Sr. was a manager here. You take a look at some of the current players on the Orioles roster. They have ties to Asheville. They've been traded or moved. Brian Baker is one. Taron Vavra, Tyler Nevin, the son of Phil Nevin. All of those guys played here in Asheville and are currently members of the Orioles. So that's an organization that has operated in a really interesting way, keeping their budget low, but winning at a level that is difficult in a division that has the Yankees, that has the Red Sox, that has the Blue Jays. Teams are going to spend a ton of money. And you look at the farm system for the Orioles. My gosh, I mean, Jackson Holliday is the number 1 overall prospect in all of baseball. He's Matt Holliday's son, former Tourist Matt Holliday's son. He's 17, 18 years old. He'll be in the big leagues later this year, next year. I mean, they have a ton of guys to be able to keep that future bright. So I guess if you're going to sell the team, talk about selling high, this would be the time to do it, coming off such a great year and the future looks bright. But yes, we were absolutely an Orioles affiliate. The Asheville Orioles from the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s, and Hall of Famer Eddie Murray played here.
Yep, and that's a perfect segue into the next thing I wanted to talk with you about, is because we've had several Hall of Famers play here, and that's what I really love most about Asheville Tourist baseball. Being in the minor leagues, you get to see the stars before they become stars. I remember going as a kid and watching Craig Biggio play at McCormick Field for his 1 year with the Houston Astros organization back then, or at least in Asheville anyway. I remember going to see Todd Helton in his first season in 1995 with the Teddy Tourists. That was like right at the beginning of the Teddy era. And now he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, just elected into the Hall of Fame, joining Biggio, as you mentioned, Eddie Murray, Willie Stargell. You talk about managers, Cal Ripken Sr., Billy Southworth. That there is absolutely an Asheville presence in Cooperstown, and Todd Helton being the latest to do it. And, that was a little before my time. I'm really glad you had a chance to see him. That whole Teddy era that began right around that 94, 95, 96 group of seasons it's really highlighted well. Ryan McGee wrote this fantastic book, Welcome to the Circus of Baseball, that he put out. ESPN's Ryan McGee, when he was an intern with the Tourists, and he talks a lot about the start of how Ron McKee introduced Teddy and some of the different experiences he had with the players, with the managers. And Todd Helton, it's interesting when you look at his numbers with Asheville, they weren't all that good. He only played for the Tourists for about half a season because he was drafted right out of college. But you also have to remember that Todd Helton, he played football the fall before. He played a full season of college baseball, and then he's drafted and plopped right into professional baseball. I mean, the guy was worn out. He was tired. And he still put up decent numbers with Asheville, but once he got that first offseason under his belt and really adjusted into professional baseball, he was able to put together a Hall of Fame career. And Tank, it just goes back to what you talked about, seeing the stars of tomorrow, the Hall of Famers. You may not know you're watching greatness. Nolan Arenado is a perfect example of that. Arenado was a second-round pick, high school kid, played for the Tourists in 2010, my intern year. And I remember watching him thinking, yeah, this guy's good, but is he arguably the best third baseman to ever play the game? Thought never crossed my mind. And now Arenado is going to be a surefire Hall of Famer when his career is over. So it's just so cool to be able to see that, and you just don't know who's going to be next.
Yeah, and you have to remember. You have to remember, like, how do I know that name? Where do I know that guy from? I'll never forget when Bobby Abreu had his big breakthrough in Major League Baseball. And I kept thinking, I know that name from somewhere. And sure enough, he was a skinny little kid who was knocking dingers out of McCormick Field.
Yeah.
You just never know.
It's cool. And you can also look at some of the opposing teams that we come in, or that come into McCormick Field and we're going to play against. Try and figure out, all right, who on this opposing team is the guy that I might see in the major leagues one day? Because, when you're at the ball game, you're obviously rooting for the Tourists, but you're going to see pros on both sides and top prospects that come in that we're going to play against. I remember when Manny Machado came into play here, and everyone was so excited to see Manny Machado play, and he comes up his first at bat, he draws a walk. They end up loading the bases. He ends up at second, and Mike Flacco, who is Joe Flacco's younger brother, played baseball at the time, peppers one off the wall, and Machado wasn't quite sure if we were going to catch it or if it was going to hit the wall. So he ends up kind of stalling in the dirt. He turns to run to third, sprains his knee, falls down, doesn't play the rest of the series, and I only got to see him one plate appearance where he drew a 4-pitch walk. I never actually saw him swing the bat. But the guy's an all-time big leaguer right now. It's like you've got that memory, you've got that story that you saw at McCormick Field.
Yep. Cannot wait for baseball season to kick off here. Let's talk college basketball real quick.
Love it.
You're all into the basketball scene. We know you're hard at work doing your play-by-play gigs throughout the week and traveling and trying to keep up with your Indiana Hoosiers. Who do you like? There is no great team in college basketball this year, but I guess give me your Final Four. Who do you like? Who's looking strong to you right now?
Okay, well, unfortunately, because I am so busy doing many games, I haven't had a chance to see everyone yet. But there are some teams that I do like, and I follow the Big Ten pretty close. I'm a huge IU fan. I grew up in Indianapolis, very close to Butler University, so I also follow the Big East a little bit. And UConn is no joke. They are for real. I watched them beat IU by 20 points this year on a neutral floor. And then I watched them go into Hinkle and win. That is a legit repeat championship team contender. So I think I have to throw UConn in there as one of my Final Four picks. Another team that jumps out to me, as much as I hate to say it, is Purdue. Purdue was one of the two teams that have a 1-16 loss under their belt, which is phenomenal if you ask me. But they have pretty much their entire team back, and they had a lot of freshmen last year, so they're older. They're very good. I will be interested to see who wins that game between Purdue and Wisconsin on Sunday. Wisconsin is very good. They're different than the normal Wisconsin team. Usually Wisconsin's one of those teams that's going to slow it down, beat you to death with defense, win a 60-59 game. This Wisconsin team scores. They're up around 80 points a game. So they are very good. I'd say one of those two teams out of the Big Ten has a chance to maybe go far in the tournament. And then another team I'll give you outside of the ACC. I think the ACC is really good this year too. I love what the Heels are doing this year. Duke I have not had a chance to see play much, but that'll be a game that I'm absolutely going to be watching tomorrow. One team that I did see earlier this year that I really liked was Auburn. Bruce Pearl has done pretty well in the NCAA tournament in the past. That team made it up to, I believe, 8th in the country. I think they've lost a couple of games in the SEC recently, but
yeah, they're
hot.
They're down to 16 after they lost back-to-back games last week.
Yeah, but don't sleep on them yet. They could absolutely be the team come tournament time. And one last team I'll give you, Tank, that I'm interested in. I'm not sold on yet, but I'm interested in is Tennessee. Tennessee has this Dalton Connect guy on there.
He's pretty good.
And I've heard he is unbelievable, but Rick Barnes to me is a guy that still needs to prove it. So those would be the teams that are jumping out to me as far as play up to this point goes. What do you think?
I have to ask you, are you running for office at some point? Is that why you left out the Tar Heels or Duke, because you don't want to give a side in this battle?
Oh, well, if I had to pick one of the two, I would probably go with the Tar Heels.
Okay, thank you. That's all I wanted to hear.
Yeah, reason being the experience factor. I think, experienced guards are big come March, and Davis is having an outstanding season. I just haven't had a chance to watch him enough. That's the only reason I don't necessarily want to go out on a limb too far. But if you made me pick one right now, I'd take UNC as the favorite over two.
Yeah. No, okay. Thank you very much. That's all I wanted from you. It took us 20 minutes to get there, but I appreciate it. Best of luck to you, man, in all your travels through the basketball season here. Keep doing a great job, because I know you are. We will touch base with you again. Maybe we'll touch base with you here in a couple of weeks as baseball season gets closer in.
I really appreciate it, Tank. And either way, I can't wait for SoCon. I always have so much fun, and you do a spectacular job.
I appreciate that.
As well as that, too. So thanks for having me.
Thank you, brother. Doug Maurer, voice of the Asheville Tourists, the 100th year of McCormick Field this year, one of the great ballparks in all of America. And as you heard him say earlier in the interview there, the guy who wrote a book on it, Ryan McGee, going to be joining us after the bottom of the hour here on ESPN Asheville. We'll talk to him about the 100th year of McCormick Field, as well as some college football thoughts. He's a UT guy, so the Tennessee Vols in the crosshairs of the NCAA once again. And we'll also touch base with him on NASCAR, because there's a pretty cool Netflix series that is on right now, recapping the end of last season. We got the Busch Clash coming up this weekend, and then, of course, all of the Speed Week stuff happens week after next down in Daytona. So stay tuned for Ryan McGee coming up with us here in just a moment here on ESPN Asheville.
Let Express Employment Professionals help you hire for contract or full-time jobs. Forget about posting jobs, sifting through resumes, and interviews with unqualified applicants. Go to expresspros.com to find the location near you. That's expresspros.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of new digital instants from the North Carolina Education Lottery. Now you can play right from your phone and win real cash prizes. It may all sound new, but winning, oh yeah, big money, is as thrilling as ever. Register to play digital instants for a whole new way to win. Must be 18 to play. See prize and odds charts at nclottery.com/digital-instants for details. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
He can't bring about world peace, stop inflation, or keep your kid from getting another nose ring, but he can make mornings easier to face.
Mark Starling and First News on 570. News Radio 570 WWNC.
Get ready for the big game with the free iHeartRadio app. Pre-game with perfectly tailored playlists like Big Game Tailgate Party and more. iHeartRadio has the perfect soundtrack for your pre-game party, whether it's just you or a block party for the entire neighborhood. Just open the free iHeartRadio app, search Tailgate, and listen now. Make the big game great with iHeartRadio. Free never sounded so good.
If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the mountains, you need to call the agents at Clarissa Sells WNC, brokered by eXp Realty. Check us out online at clarissasellswnc.com. And did I mention that Clarissa Sells WNC loves teachers? We love teachers so much, we're giving back 25% of our commission at closing. For more information, contact us today at 828-774-6343 or clarissasellswnc@gmail.com.
Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics have teamed up under new ownership by an Asheville native to better serve our community with the finest custom apparel and unique branded items at the best price. Showtime Sports and Mountain Graphics can customize whatever you, your team, business, or local group may need through high-quality screen printing, embroidery, and laser engraving right here in Asheville. Free personal delivery within Buncombe County and a reduced delivery fee anywhere in Western North Carolina. Visit ShowtimeSportsAVL.com and MountainGraphicsAVL.com. Your one-stop custom apparel shops.
We're back counting down to kickoff. Let's look at today's 3 keys to premium pre-gaming with Beast Unleashed, presented by Monster Brewing. Number 1, beat the heat.
Unleash the beast with bold, familiar flavors, 0 caffeine and 0 sugar.
Number 2, running the option.
There's 4 to choose from: White Haze, Peach Perfect, Scary Berries, and my personal favorite, Mean Green.
And number 3, at 6% ABV, Max Protect.
Always drink responsibly, and you must be 21 or over.
Beast Unleashed, available at your local retailer.
All right, people, it's Valentine's Day. Everything has to be perfect. Yes, Chef.
At Ingles, we know that not every Valentine's Day is 4-star perfection, with string quartets and swanky restaurants.
My boyfriend bought me flowers.
That it's not the money you spend or the elaborate lengths you go to.
Happy Valentine's Day.
It just has to come from the heart. Ingles, we're with you every step of the way.
The Sportsocracy.
Pull up your pants, take off the bra, and be a man!
Welcome back into the Sportsocracy. It is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. We got a little bit of a breaking. I didn't want to put the breaking news theme on this because I'm not sure how breaking this is, because we all kind of saw it coming. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to hit the button anyway. Jeremy ain't here. It's my party.
Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news? Who's going to break the news?
Squawky loves the dance. Jeremy rolls his eyes. Squawky's a big fan. All you watching on the YouTube channel, you're welcome. You're welcome. The breaking news dance can only mean one thing: that something has happened in the world of sports that we all actually saw coming. Heather Dinich, ESPN senior writer, reporting that the Big Ten and the SEC have formed a joint advisory group of university presidents, chancellors, and athletic directors to, quote, address the significant challenges facing college athletics and how to improve the student-athlete experience. The conference is announced on Friday. This came down just before 2 o'clock. It says the move is significant because it reflects a growing relationship between the two largest and wealthiest conferences and their respective commissioners as the balance of power continues to tilt in their favor in the evolving college landscape. The Big Ten Commissioner, Tony Petitti, SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, have reportedly been working closely together much more than their predecessors had. And it all comes back to the NCAA and NIL and what the future will hold. We've all said at some point these two super conferences are going to look to break away. This is the first step in that process. Or are we overthinking it? I don't think we're overthinking it. The Big Ten and the SEC have apparently formed an advisory group, and they are going to get together. And part of the advisory group notice here, the news release from the Big Ten, says that this is all in response to the recent court decisions, the pending litigation, a patchwork of state laws, and complex governance proposals that the Big Ten and the SEC have substantial investment, quote unquote, in the NCAA, and there is no question that the voices of our two conferences are integral to the governance and other reform efforts. So basically, we're going to get together, we'll decide what we think the best course of action is, and NCAA, if you don't want to go along with us, then we can just get out of this thing. I think that's where this is all headed. We'll see what Ryan McGee of ESPN has to say about it. Coming up after the break right here on ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400.
This is your Exergen Temporal Scanner weather forecast on ESPN Asheville.
All right, sunshine finally getting out as we get into the afternoon now. Going to be a beautiful Friday afternoon and evening as we'll have dry pavement for driving, lots of sunshine around, and comfortable temperatures, upper 50s. Tonight, a little bit chillier, down near 30 degrees. Sunshine and 55 on Saturday. Sunday, sunshine near 50 degrees. And Monday now, sunshine with highs in the mid-50s. From the Weather Channel, I'm meteorologist Ray Staging.
This report is sponsored by ExpressPros.com. Let Express Employment Professionals help you hire for contract or full-time jobs. Forget about posting jobs, sifting through resumes, and interviews with unqualified applicants. Go to ExpressPros.com to find the location near you. That's ExpressPros.com.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see. Depression won't show up on an eye chart, and you won't find PTSD by looking at a thermometer. Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment. Anxiety won't just go away under a bandage. If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
This is Carolina basketball.
2-on-1. Baycott finishes the transition hammer. R.J. Davis, he's going to try a quick three. Yes, from the right sideline.
On the Tar Heels Sports Network.
Ends up to Baycott, and he gets the run out. Two-handed flush. Carolina, it's Davis. He's fouled, and give him it.
This is your radio home for the Tar Heels.
Asheville's home for the Tar Heels is ESPN Asheville.
This year, surprise your love with more than just flowers. Send them a fun, out-of-the-box floral arrangement from Stargazers Floral Designs. Check out their unique designs at stargazersfloraldesigns.com or call 828-254-3621 to place your order.
The Ingles 2024 Southern Conference Downtown Dribble and Kids Fest, presented by Champion Credit Union, will be held Saturday, March 9th, 9:30 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. at the Roger McGuire Greene at Pack Square Park. The Downtown Dribble will feature interactive games, inflatables, pep bands, cheerleaders, and a parade. Each participant will receive a basketball, Downtown Dribble t-shirt, and a ticket to the noon session quarterfinal basketball games. Check-in will begin at 9:30 a.m. at Roger McGuire Greene. To register, visit downtowndribble.eventbrite.com.
Running a small business is no small task. At Home Trust Bank, we work hard to prepare businesses for whatever tomorrow may bring. Your dreams are our business, and we have local experts who can help you plan for a successful future. Dependable guidance you need, and service you'll appreciate. At Home Trust Bank, we take your small business banking personally. Visit your local Home Trust branch or anytime at htb.com. Member FDIC.
The Sportsocracy.
These guys are a f***ing disgrace.
And it is ESPN Asheville, 92.9 FM, 880 AM, and 1400. It is the Sportsocracy. Tank Spencer flying solo today here in the Ingles Studio. We've almost made it to our destination, ladies and gentlemen. The weekend has just about arrived, and it is going to be a huge weekend. We've got college basketball going on. We got the All-Star game in the NHL. You got the Pro Bowl going on for the NFL. The Senior Bowl's going on down in Mobile, Alabama, and the Busch Clash is this weekend as well. I don't think I really realized that. Ryan McGee of ESPN joining us on the show here. I didn't think I realized that until I was watching the new Netflix series, and my phone picked up on it and went, hey, you're watching that? Maybe you want to watch the Busch Clash this weekend.
They're listening. Now, yeah, it's in your defense, all of us that grew up with NASCAR, this is still new. I mean, this is, for forever, the Busch Clash was the deal they ran. It was only 20 laps, and it was the guys that won pole positions the year before, and it was over in like 30 minutes. And they run it on the weekend before the Daytona 500, and then that kind of transitioned into a lot of different iterations of that. And quite frankly, no one was watching or going in Daytona, and so they decided to try something new. And now it's a couple of weeks earlier than the 500. And it's they built a racetrack inside the L.A. Coliseum, which is crazy to look at. I was in L.A. for the Rose Bowl just a few weeks ago, and I made my Uber driver on the way to the airport go by the Coliseum so I could look in there at the racetrack while they were building it. And it's trippy seeing a quarter-mile asphalt track, inside the Coliseum, but it's also cool. And so, Sunday night, something to watch that's not football.
Yeah, so I have been watching the NASCAR Full Speed series on Netflix. I'm now on the bandwagon ever since I've been watching, like, the quarterback series that Netflix has done, and even with the high school series that they did with the QB1 and the what was the other one, the one with the junior colleges. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, I think every sport needs one of these now, like a wrap-up series.
Yeah, and I tell you where the impetus came for this NASCAR series was the Formula One Drive to Survive, which is this crazy lightning in a bottle phenomenon when it comes to sports television, because that Formula One series had actually been around for a while, and no one watched it. And then 2020 happened, and everybody was stuck in their house looking for something to watch. And they started watching that Formula One series, Drive to Survive, and they got really invested in Lewis Hamilton and all these guys. And so ESPN has benefited from that because we carry Formula One races. And so NASCAR was like, how do we get in on this? And they went to Netflix and partnered with NASCAR Productions. And it's a great job, and it's great insight to me. The reason those of us that grew up NASCAR fans, the cars were awesome and all that stuff, but it really was about the personalities. And I have, for years, beat my head against the wall because, like, I was just at Jimmy Johnson's NASCAR Hall of Fame induction 2 weekends ago. And fans are, he's so boring. He's not boring at all. He's one of the craziest human beings I've ever known in my life. And one of the big partiers I've ever been around my life. But no one knows that. And so I'm hoping that what this series will do for NASCAR is lend some insight into who these guys are. And I think I've only seen the first 2 episodes, but I think it's certainly headed in that direction.
Yeah, it was great. You get to know the drivers a little bit better. You can confirm some of the things that you thought about guys, or you could go another way.
Yeah.
I felt like this played like Denny Hamlin. I felt like this series played Denny Hamlin really well. You got to hear him for the first time for many of us casual fans that don't listen to like his podcast or whatever, hear him explain why he's such a jerk on the track.
Yeah, it's just, and that's just it. It's insight, and it's interesting too because I've worked in television my whole life. I used to work at NASCAR Productions, and we produced some reality shows. When I worked there back in the 20 years ago, and it's funny because a lot of times, and I hear contestants say this that have been on Survivor or Amazing Race or Love Is Blind or whatever, and they'll kind of complain like, man, they really edited me weird. No, we didn't. We can only the producers can only do so much. the personality that you give the production team is the personality that you have. Now, there's certainly things that can be done, to change this soundbite or do whatever else for these reality shows. But the reality of the reality shows is that you can only work with what they give you. And so I remember years ago, The Real World was the original reality show on MTV, 100 years ago. And those kids complaining about, well, I didn't like the way that they edited me. Dude, they didn't edit it. I mean, they edited the show, but what you gave them is what you gave them. And so there's nowhere to hide with these things. And so that's why, it's going to be interesting watching this thing catch on with a mainstream audience. At least I hope it does, and watching how people react. Because I experienced this a little bit with Formula One. I know those guys a little bit, and watching this mainstream sports entertainment audience react to Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen or whoever, it's going to be really interesting to see how they react to Denny Hamlin, who to me has always been a fascinating character, and I've covered him his whole career.
That's been a long time. You've got a lot of experience under that belt.
Yeah, dude, I'm at that age now. So we were just having this conversation. I was at the NASCAR Hall of Fame induction, 2 weekends ago, and I was having that conversation with Marty Smith. We were like, man, you look. So when you're in the big ballroom when they do the induction, they have all the classes, like these big portraits of all the classes hanging up there. And you see the first group, and it's like Junior Johnson and Richard Petty and those guys. And I watched them as a fan. Mm-hmm. And then you got the guys from the 70s and 80s that I might have caught them at the end of their career. And now the guys that are going to the NASCAR Hall of Fame, I was there years before they got there. And now they've been retired for several years and going. So I've covered these guys beginning and end of their career. And I'm the one constant seems to be the old dude in the back of the room, and that's me.
Right. It kind of stacks up on you over the years.
Yeah. Well, what I told my daughter is the one thing I've learned at my age is that wisdom has nothing to do with intelligence. Wisdom just means you've been around longer than everybody else, and that's kind of it's like Groundhog Day. He's not a god. He just is there every day, and no one else is. And so I feel like because now these young people that cover NASCAR, we have a really talented group of young writers and reporters that are at the racetrack now. And when I go to Daytona 2 weeks from now, they'll be asking me questions about Ward Burton and Sterling Marlin, like they're asking about Fireball Roberts and Curtis Turner. But that's who I am now.
Exactly. I do have to ask you though, the Netflix series was great. I saw a lot of Marty.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of Dale, obviously.
Right.
I didn't see any Ryan. How'd you get
shafted? I'm not super popular with the Netflix people. And that's a story that I probably could tell you off
no worries.
Off the telephone. But I did not receive a telephone call to participate in that. I've been in, and usually I get called. I'm very spoiled. Usually I get called for those things. I was in the Dale Jeff Gordon documentary on Fox, and a lot of the stuff they've done but I did not get a call from Netflix because I made them mad a year ago, and I knew they were going to call.
Okay. All right, that's fair enough. I had to I went through and looked through to see if I could find a cast list, thinking surely I missed the one scene of Ryan McGee because to me your name is synonymous with NASCAR. When I think NASCAR reporters, I think you and Marty.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and I'm getting that question a lot, but again, a couple of beers. And not on a hot mic, I'll tell you the story behind that deal.
All right. Maybe you can find some time to come up to see your old stomping grounds during the baseball season. This year, we just had Doug Maurer, the voice of the Asheville Tourist, on with us. It's the 100th year of McCormick Field this year.
I know, it's amazing, and it's what an amazing year it's been. I wrote the Welcome to Circus Baseball was published I think about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
A year ago, I was in the audio booth recording the audio book, and it took like a week. But I'm so, as you know, I'm so passionate about that project. And it's just because I love that place so much, and I love minor league baseball so much, and the reception has been tremendous, and the partnership I've had with the tourists has been great, and I was there for opening day last year, And this year I'm going to show back up in April, but probably just going to hide in the grandstands and just sit there and have a chance to enjoy the ballpark. But yeah, it's crazy. What an amazing place, man, and what a gift it is to have that sitting right there in the middle of that city we all love so much.
Yeah, it's another historic season, and we just had. Now, what year were you here?
94.
94.
Okay,
yeah,
so 94.
You just missed Todd Helton.
Yeah, and Todd was there the next year.
Yep.
Yeah, and it's funny because Todd and I went to Tennessee, and Todd's freshman year at Tennessee was my senior year, and then when I was telling the story on Marty McGee last weekend about the San Diego, because Todd just went into the Baseball Hall of Fame, and I remember when he was a freshman at Tennessee, and he was at Tennessee because his dad wanted him to play football. And the San Diego Padres had drafted Todd really, really high in the first round and had offered him a bunch of money. And I think Todd really wanted to play baseball. And his family pulled off this crazy, like, cloak and dagger move to make sure the Padres could not find Todd on the day at the signing deadline, which was in the middle of two-a-days at Tennessee. And as you know, two-a-days is the worst.
Wow.
And so they kind of hid him away from the Padres. Padres were literally walking around campus looking for him, and he was nowhere to be found. And but it all worked out for Todd. And but yeah, what a great guy. And I'm glad there's too many voters for the Baseball Hall of Fame. I think there's too many voters for the Heisman. But I'm glad that they finally came to their senses and put Todd in the Hall of Fame and quit hanging Coors Field over his head.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I get you grew up in a hitter's park, but those numbers still track. The WAR and everything still tracks.
Oh yeah, it still tracks, and his numbers on the road, particularly in the last half a dozen years of his career, were. I mean, he was. My question with the Hall of Fame is always, how feared were you for a certain window of time? And that's why Dale Murphy should be in the Hall of Fame. Yes. Was there a more feared hitter in the major leagues for that 6 or 7 years when Murphy was hitting 35 home runs a year? Was there a more feared hitter than Dale Murphy? No. And there was not a more feared hitter in the western half of the United States than Todd Helton for more than a decade. And so to me, that's what makes you a Hall of Famer, and now thankfully he finally is.
That he is, and let's switch gears here. Talk some college football before you go, because your school, you're in it again. The NCAA, they've got their sights set on you. Already, handed down the penalty this past summer, and now there's another investigation here. I want to give you the opportunity to defend your program.
Well, I'll say this, and I'm not just saying this because it's Tennessee. Because I said the exact same thing about Florida State just a few weeks ago, and Florida right around there, right around the same time. Florida State, it kind of got lost in the middle of all the Florida State, getting left out of the college football playoff and all the players refusing to play in the bowl game and all that stuff. It got kind of lost that, the NCAA announced Florida State was in trouble for a very similar situation to what Tennessee finds itself in. And I don't see how you can act like there's no rules when it comes to name, image, and likeness, and now all of a sudden have decided, oh, no, wait, there are rules, but those rules are basically tied to the old rules. And, you can't use NIL to entice recruits, but everyone knows it's going on, but there's not really anything on the books. It's just the part of all this that just baffles me is that they weren't ready for this, because the two court cases you always hear about are Ed O'Bannon, who of course sued the NCAA over his likeness in a video game, and then the Austin case, which you can look it up. It was decided in the Supreme Court 2 years ago, which is really what set up the current age of NIL. And so the Austin case went on for 7 years. And the Ed O'Bannon case went on for longer than that. I mean, it goes back to 2009. So, and we've all known this was coming for decades. And so the fact that the NCAA, and it's not just the people who enforce the rules, the people who write the rules are the membership. The members of the NCAA, the coaches, the athletic directors, the commissioners, they write the rules. The NCAA's job is to enforce the rules. And so I just can't believe that they didn't have a file cabinet ready. All right, when this comes, this is what the rules are going to be. Well, what if you lose the Austin case? Well, if you lose the Austin case, then we're not going to use file cabinet 1, we're going to use file cabinet 2. What if we lose the Urbana case? Well, then we're going to use file cabinet 3. I mean, they had decades to get ready for this. So it's just, it's crazy. And then today we find out, the Big Ten and the SEC are forming this alliance to look into the future of collegiate athletics. And this is the first official step toward, we're going to have basically AFC and NFC in football, at some point in college football, and I think it's going to happen sooner than later.
I'm glad that I'm not just the only one that saw it that way. I told the story right before I called you that this committee was being formed. This is the warning of you're going to go with the rules that we set up, or we're gone.
Yeah, and it's just, but it's just, listen, these are really smart people. And, their chess moves are about 4 steps ahead of what we all realize. And I think when you start looking back on certainly the things that Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, has said to me, has said to Marty McGee on the show, going back over the last 4 or 5 years, you can kind of see the pieces moving on the board. And it's where it's all headed. I just, listen, man, I've said it to you before. I'll say it to anybody who wants to hear it. I said it on Pat McAfee's show, just a little bit ago. I want my Saturday football to be Saturday football. I don't watch NFL because, the NFL, that's a completely different game. It's a completely different brand of football. It's a completely different business model. And I don't particularly care for it. And so what I don't like is I don't like the fact that college football every single day seems to be moving toward, this NFL model, whether it's expanded playoff or whether it's 2 super conferences or whatever. And I just, I don't like that, but it's it's free agents 365 days a year. But it's it is what it is. I still love it, but man, it's they're making it hard.
That they are, but it's still our game, and we're still going to watch. It's just going to be a little bit different than it has been, and it's going to roll on, and you'll continue to cover the game with all the passion that you have for these many years.
Yeah, and listen, I'm good. I host a show on the Southeastern Conference Network. I'm set. I'm good to go.
Yep.
I just worry about. I've had this conversation with Kirby Smart and Nick Saban and everybody else, which is they're like, listen, all this is good for us, but they acknowledge it's not good for college football top to bottom over the long run. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm set, but I just worry about the health of the game. Overall, Division II, 1AA, or what we used to call 1AA, Division III, everything. I want to make sure all that's okay. But we'll see.
Yeah, I'm Ryan McGee, host or co-host, I guess, of Marty and McGee, and senior writer with ESPN.com. We appreciate you taking out the time for us, as always. Great to catch up.
Yeah, you can call me the host. That's fine.
That's fine. I get it.
I'm good with that.
All right, brother, take it easy, and we'll touch base with you again soon, and enjoy the festivities this weekend.
All right, brother, thanks.
You are in the Sportsocracy, and this is ESPN Asheville, 880 AM and 1400. And that'll about do it for us here in the Sportsocracy this week. Thanks for everybody for tuning in to the show. It's been nice, actually, not having to look at the big mullet all week, but we've appreciated his check-ins from the Senior Bowl. We'll have all in-depth coverage and reactions from Flostradamus Jeremy Greene coming up on Monday's program at noon right here on ESPN Asheville. It is a huge weekend of so many things going on. If you're upset that there's no NFL football this weekend and you're not going to watch flag football or the fun little games that they play now for the Pro Bowl games, then you've got hockey. That's their All-Star weekend is this weekend. I'm sure the NBA will be playing for those of you who are interested. College basketball is going to be an absolute banger again tomorrow here on the iHeartMedia Asheville stations. We will have UNC Asheville against Winthrop, a big South matchup at 1:30 tomorrow on News Radio 570 WWNC. Following that game will be the NC State game against Georgia Tech. And right here on ESPN Asheville, you will have the big one, number 3 North Carolina hosting number 7 Duke. And the tip-off of that game coming at 6:30 tomorrow night here on 92.9, 880 and 1400. We will see you Monday at noon.
Nothing says I love you like a clean home. This Valentine's Day, call the cleaning pros at Zero Res. Right now, mention ESPN Asheville and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $109, plus a free hallway. Book online at ZeroResAsheville.com.
Sandstone Health and Rehabilitation wishes to thank every team member from our 18 locations for their incredible dedication to our residents in 2023. Cheers to 2024 and continuing to build a career with purpose by providing compassionate care for all.
Sick and tired of achy joints? Dread the idea of surgery? You need to call QC Kinetics today. Listen, the state of healthcare is always changing. The old ideas like steroids and surgery are no longer your only options. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative, non-surgical, drug-free treatments that deliver lasting results. Knee pain, back pain, shoulder pain from arthritis or injury? Don't let this pain keep you from living your best life. QC Kinetics advanced state-of-the-art treatments harness and direct your body's natural ability to restore and repair damaged joint tissue. This is a revolutionary approach that can get you long